Good afternoon, everyone. On hai.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
I hope all are doing well. So let's start today's session. So good afternoon, esteemed dignitaries, hospitality experts, academicians, faculty members, research scholars, and industry professionals. As we gather here for the final session of Atal Faculty Development Program, Flame to Feast, I am overwhelmed with the gratitude and admiration for what we have achieved over these 6 incredible days. This journey has been nothing short of transformative, a celebration of culinary arts, innovation, and education. Today, we are not just closing a program, we are commemorating a week of collaboration, creativity, and camaraderie that has brought us closer as educators, industry leaders, and lifelong learners. Let's keep the energy alive as we end on high note, shall we? Okay, fun culinary activity, who I am. So before starting today's session, we will be playing a short game as we have played yesterday, but today's game is a bit different from yesterday's. So the name of the game is Who Am I? I'll be quoting a phrase and you have, as soon as you get the name of the speaker, it is basically a short test from my side to you. Whatever speakers we had till date, I'll be quoting one line over that. And you have to, as soon as you guess, you have to write it in chat box. Let's see who is more active in listening so far and who is answering the first. So my first quote is, you have to choose, you have to write the name of the dignitary speaker who belongs to this quote basically. So my first quote is, I delve into the heritage of Anglo-Indian cuisine, exploring its rise and fall, connecting his to modern culinary needs. You don't have to raise the hand, you have to just write the name. Wow, nice. We are getting good replies over that. Nice. Now the second is, be attentive, please. I unraveled the hidden gem of tribal cuisine, showcasing their cultural significance and potential for innovation. Yes, it was Chef Aruna Trike. Thank you. Nice. And the first answer, I missed that answer to answer you. That was Chef Bridget Kumar, sorry. Now my third quote is, my session focused on Sattvic cuisine and future trends.
Nishan Chaube.
Yes, it was Nishan Chaube, sir. Chef Nishan Chaube. Okay. Now the fourth quote is, I took you to lush kitchen of Kerala where spices and coconut create magic. Yes. Korean. Chef Korean. Nice. Okay, last question, but not the least. A veteran chef with over 4 decades of experience, I guided through the shaping the next generation of culinary professionals. No, it was not TK Razdan. No. Yes, Sahil sir, you are right. That was Chef Sudhir Sibal, whom we have heard yesterday. Okay, last quote. With expertise of Indian cuisine, I have showcased the beauty of diversity over the gastronomy tradition, making us proud of our roots.
Chef Anirban Gupta.
Okay, I can see that Sahil Gupta sir is more active listening. So far, his answers are quite right. Nice. Yes, it was Chef Anirban Gupta ji. Okay. Was it great learning with games? Because that is what we also do with our students. Playing with game, the gaining knowledge with the games are more interesting, I guess. Okay, so reflecting on our journey, this week has been like preparing a 7-course meal where session has added distinct flavor of overall experience. Let's reflect on culinary marvels we have explored so far till date. Chef TK Razdan set the stage with solid introduction of culinary arts, giving us the foundation to build upon. Chef Anirban Gupta, his expertise in Indian cuisine showcase the beauty and diversity of our gastronomy traditions and making us proud of our roots. Chef Gunjan Goyla inspired us to embrace the sustainability through her session on green cuisine, emphasizing eco-conscious practices. Chef Emma reminded us of sweet indulgence and precious bakery confectionery in global cuisine. And who can forget the enriching sight from Chef Nishan Chaube, who took us into the evolving food world of Sattvic cuisine and future food trends. Chef Aruna Trike, a renowned chef, championing the preservation and promotion of tribal cuisine, emphasizing their culture, richness, and culinary innovation. Chef Sybil, a veteran culinary leader dedicated to shaping the next generation of chefs with his extensive expertise and insight into industry trends. Chef Ashish Basin, a culinary historian focused on reviving the rich legacy of Mughal cuisine, blending history with contemporary dining. Now, let's start with today's session with listening to two more dignitaries, starting with Chef Emma. Welcome to the culinary adventure that explored the captivating history of bakery and confectionery, a journey that spans millennia, continents, and cultures. From the humble beginning of bread to intricate artistry of pastry, we delve into the evolution of baking, tracing its influence on global cuisine. The life of Chef Emma is dedicated to art of French cuisine and has been the privilege and a profound journey. This pursuit transcends mere profession, emerging instead as a passion rooted in exploration of taste, texture, and creativity. As a founder of the French Hostess and the creator of candy brand The French Candy, pride is taken in sharing the essence of French culture, hospitality, the gastronomy with a wider audience. Through hosting guests at a charming guest house, teaching online cooking classes, and curating unique pastry experience, efforts has been directed towards infusing every table with a touch of French elegance. A perspective is offered today on the significance of bakery and confectionery, not only with the French cuisine but across the globe. The roots of this passion can be traced back to a childhood spent in the heart of France, where the air was often filled with aroma of freshly baked bread and delicate sweetness of artisanal pastries. These informative experiences were instrumental in inspiring a lifelong love for the craft, which continues to shape the mission of bringing French culinary traditions to life. Chef Emma, we invite you to enlighten the audience with your profound knowledge and passion from French cuisine, bakery, and confectionery. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for this introduction. It was very great. And I'm very happy to be there for explaining you a little bit more about French bakery and confectionery. Yes, French people are totally fond of bakery and pastry. And I think that our reputation is quite good across the world. And I will try to explain you why. So let me share a little bit my PDF. Up, it's here. I'm sharing. So I don't think I need to make a new introduction because it was so good that I don't need to. And there's something that I want to share about French experience, how to get a French chef. I think it starts when you are very small girl or very small boy, because in each family, it's very important to spend time in the kitchen all together. Means that it's not only one person who is dedicated to the cooking time and how to make your meal, but it's a little bit whole the family. It's about the father, and it's a lot about kids, and kids start by baking. So the first thing that a kid needs to learn when it's a small kid, it's how to make a little cake with yogurt, very basic. And then it's continue in order to elevate and to be able to make macaron. So I would like to make, for starting, an introduction of the sweet and savory in France. And there was a long time, and I want to start global, not with the vision of France. I want to have a global vision. And I want to say that bakeries start in the Neolithic era, which means a long time ago. But it started when the men were able to not be nomad anymore. They need to start to have a civilization in order to go in agriculture, and they could discover the grain. And with the grain, you are able to confection bread. So at the beginning, it was flat bread. Do not speak about the sourdough or yeast. That was totally unknown. So they were starting baking some flat bread. And to be exact, the history of the bread starts in Egypt. It's said that someone forgot the dough nearby the river, the Nile River, and when this person came back at the early morning, this person saw that the dough was a little bit different, was a little bit fluffy, and that was a way to discover the sourdough. So the bacteria, which was inside the river, been inside the loaf of bread, and they had a reaction. And that was the first time that we were able to have this kind of bread. The technique of bread are very different from all over the world. You know that in India, that's very different than the baguette in France. That's and we all have different kind of bread, because, for example, in France, the baguette is very famous, but in Germany, this is another kind of bread. This is a black bread. So all around the world, we have different way to make the bread. It's said that the French people will master the bread confectionery, and I agree, we are quite good. I love any kind of bread, but French bread are very good. About the sweets, you know that the sugar was not there at the Neolithic, and we start by sweetening our cakes with natural ingredients like honey, fruit, or nuts. And that was the first approach to the sweet. So honey cake were very common in Mesopotamia and in Roman. And the Roman enjoy even honey sweetened pastry and fruit-based dessert a lot. Roman dedicate a lot their life to eating. You know that they were doing a lot of feast, and they are very famous on that. Bread and sweet, they were good on both. So to continue, I would like to say that I told you that the origin of bakery and confectionery in ancient civilization, it starts with Egypt, then ancient Rome, and now let's go to Greece, because Greece, it was very important. And Greece, in the ancient Greece, bakeries were a common site, with bakers supplying the city with a variety of breads. And that was something very important in the culture. And as well, in Greece, early cake sweetened with honey became very popular, and it was often shared for a religious ceremony. When something is rare, and when it's rare, you have the possibility to bring that to the goats. There is something very important in the goats ceremony. You have to share what's the best for you to the goats. Then we are going very fast on time. We are coming for the medieval age in Europe. And there's a new phenomenon which emerged, that's the guild and the community baking. That was very important to start to have some rules. We start to have a regulation in quality, and we standardizing the technique. And as well, we answering the supply. And each profession has to add a guild. This guild, it was for baking, for pasturing, but it was as well for the laser, it was for jewelry, for gold, for any kind of profession. But in the bakery, it was much more important than in any other profession. So the guilds enforced very strict rules on baker, including the type of flour. And it was important because by the past, you could get sick from a type of flour. If the flour is not with a good quality, you could have the people sick and even dying because of that. So that's why as well, you had this regulation. You had another regulation on the size of the loaves. You can sell for the same price a small loaf and a big one. So this regulation was important, and even when you weight your bread by the past, they had to weight the bread, to weight everything, to have the size of the loaf, which was quite similar everywhere. And some people were cheating, adding some heavy ingredient like stone. Yes, it was called heavy ingredient in order to have a price which will be better. And the price of the bread needs to be a little bit the same everywhere. It was by the Middle Age, and something important, the bread was a cornerstone of the European diet. The technique for harvest were not very good, so the bread was very, very important. And to be exact, the French Revolution started because of the bread issue. The year before the revolution, the price of the wheat increased a lot, and it was not possible anymore to have flour at a good price. So the first contestation starts in front of the castle of Versailles, and it said that the Queen Marie Antoinette say, "Oh, they don't have bread, give them some cakes," which is totally wrong. She never said that. The idea is that, okay, the king and the queen can understand what were the need for the people who were poor and starving. So the contestation was quite violent. And for the first time, even the king needs to do something, to say something. And he regulates the price of the bread because he said that the guild were not good enough for this regulation. So you had the interventions, but it was too late. We start the revolution. So the community baking, you have to know that in order to bake the bread in France, you need a very strong oven. And in the house in France, it was farm, so they had a fireplace, but not a very specific oven in order to bake the bread. So they had to share this oven. So I will say that the family of my friend Paul, it's on Monday. The family of my friend Philippe, it's on Tuesday. And in my family, it's on Wednesday. So each day, there is a family, some family who are able to use the community oven. Means that when you are baking your bread, it's not a small bread that you have to bake. It's a very huge bread. You have to bake very important bread in order to feed all your family for the full week. And from the bread, we develop a lot of technique to not throw the bread, because at the of the week, the bread is very good. It's soft bread, but at the end of the week, your bread is not soft anymore. Your bread start to get hard, and you don't want to eat a hard bread. So there are a lot of technique, and there is one which is very famous. This is the onion soup. On the top of the onion soup, you have to add the bread, and as the bread is dry, the bread pouring inside the soup is drinking the beverage, the soup, and is soft again. So the onion soup recipe, it's a recipe which was made for poor people. When you're looking at the ingredient, that's the only ingredient for poor people. It's about the onion and it's a broth. So there is no meat inside. It means that you can't afford to add meat. And when you put the bread that today we toast, but by the past they were not toasting the bread, they had just the old bread inside. And that's a technique, that's one technique. And then there's another technique. This is a French toast. French toast, at the origin, it's a recipe for poor people who can afford to buy new bread. And when you bake your French toast, it's about old bread. The bread needs to be dehydrated. It's very important. Never use fresh bread in order to bake French toast. And then you pour it in a mixture made with eggs and milk. If you are rich enough, you could have a little of sugar, but you're not rich enough. So it's about honey. It's about something which could be a little bit sweet, but most of the time there is nothing inside. And then you fry it into the butter and you are able to eat it. So that was a way to still use your bread, which was quite old. Then about the rise of spices, we have to wait a very long time. That we have to wait until the 16th century and the trade between different countries like India, especially, in order to introduce cinnamon, ginger, or clove. And it could be add to the complexity to some bread and some pastry. But it was not at the beginning of the history of baking that we add the spices. Now I would like to introduce the sugar into the French cuisine. And the arrival of sugar, I told you about the spices, it starts to be introduced in France in the 16th century. And not before. It was through the spice trade route, and initially it was a luxury item, very, very expensive, and
Excuse me,
only
ma'am?
for the elite. Yes, please.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt you in between, but your slides, you have to do slideshow because we are not able to see full screen of your slides.
Oh, sorry. Up. You could see it better? That's okay this way?
Not actually, ma'am. Slideshow and then start from beginning.
So
I
I stop it. Yep. Is it possible now? Is it okay? Tell me. So I will remove it and I will do it again.
Third option.
Can you see it?
No, ma'am, not now. Earlier it
Not
was visible,
now.
but half screen.
Half screen. Huh. I don't know why. Better? You could see everything there? No?
Ma'am, if we can help you in changing up the slides because we are having your presentation.
Yes. Yes, that will be better. I changed it a little bit, but we will do it with it.
Sure,
Okay.
ma'am, we'll do it.
Yes. So we are at the introduction of sugar into French cuisine and how the sugar arrived in France in the 16th century through the spice trade routes. Very sorry for that. Would you like I continue a little bit more, or we are waiting for the presentation? Yes.
Good afternoon, Chef Emma. Just give us a
Yes,
couple of
I'll
minutes.
continue.
Within 2 minutes,
course.
we are, we'll be connecting
Yes.
your PPT so that you
Yes.
don't have any glitches. Just 2 minutes, huh?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
I saw that someone asked me to do option command why, and I did it. Is it better? Option command why? Yes or no? No. So let's continue a little bit more about the introduction of sugar into the French cuisine. As I told you, the sugar at the beginning was only for the elite. It was something for king, not for ordinary people. No one was able to afford, and the accessibility to wider audience was not possible. After the king, of course, you go a little bit down to the aristocracy, and then with different technique, we were able to spread the sugar a little bit everywhere. And with the technique of spreading the sugar everywhere, we have new dessert coming and new dishes. And it's a very turning point in the French culinary history to be able to reach the sugar at a regular price. So the French pastry start with the elite and continue with ordinary chef, ordinary people. But really it starts with the king and the queen liking sweetness. And especially in France, we had a queen, Catherine de Médicis, who was really into sweet, who spread the sweetness around Europe. About the origin of sugar, so congratulations in India. It was in India that the sugar cane was cultivated and used for its sweet juice. And then that was as well the Indian who start to use it in culinary and as a medicinal plant for its virtue. Then we need to find out a technique in order to transport the sugar. And the refining sugar into a crystallized sugar was very important in the sugar history because it was a way to bring it at other place, to export the sugar around the world. And this innovation occurred in India. Congratulations to the Indian people around the 8th century, making it easier to transport and to store as well. So this way, it was a possibility for other culture to see what the sugar was, and the Persian was totally fascinated by the sugar, and they call it the queen of plants, to say that it was a real fascination. And we know all about the Persian pastry, which are very sweet and very important in the Arabian world. And it was perfect into a crystallized project. Then in the Middle Age, in Europe, we did a lot of cruise. So crusades and trade that sugar reaches Europe, but it's exorbitant price reserved for the elite. So you could see again the spice trade and the spread of sugar were linked because the maritime routes were traced by the spices trade were used as well for bringing the sugar in Europe. During the Crusade, that was something very important. You know that the Crusade, this is a war that all the Christian world did for having back Jerusalem was holy city for the Christian community. And as we had Muslim in the Christian country, they decided that it need to be Christian because the priest was there. But the Crusader were extremely destroying in terms of men. A lot of people were killed. But in terms of culture, that was very interesting because they bring back in Europe all the cultures of the Middle East and the sugar, especially the sugar. Then the exportation expanded and sugar plantation were established in the New World, particularly in the Caribbean, because the climate allowed to have cane, and that was very important to fill the demand in Europe. And the market, a significant shift in the global share, which means that what was extremely expensive by the past, because it was only in one place in the world, because of the cultivation, you could have other places, and the price of the sugar would turn a little bit, just a little bit, not a lot. You have to know that the monastery play a role very important because they were botanists, and the culture of the sugar, we could find all the monastery because they understood how to make a reproduction of a plant and to have the sugar planting anywhere around the world. Now it's about the sugar refining and the rise of sugar production. I told you 16th century introduction of the sugar, then the refining process allowed the creation of the white sugar. And the white sugar, it's a way to have the sugar less expensive and accessible to the mass. The influence of the sugar in the European cuisine, the sweet transformation. The introduction of sugar to Europe market is a significant shift in culinary tradition. It's revolutionized the way to experience its food, offering a new dimension to flavor and enjoyment. It's offer as well new culinary possibility with confectionery, dessert, and baked goods furnished. Incorporating sugar as a primary ingredient to create intricate flavor and texture. That was very new, to use the sugar as a primary ingredient. And then we speak about a lot about cakes, pastry, but beverage as well. The sugar was also found into beverage, adding sweetness to wine. The wine by the past was not as sweet that it is today. And the liquor and the syrup were introduced because of the sugar. By the past, we didn't have any liquor or syrup, and the wine was quite bitter. So the introduction of the sugar was very important in the beverage confectionery as well, and even became a key ingredient in many popular drinks. The influence of the Middle Age and European pastry. I start to tell you a little bit about monastery and priests. They played a significant role in preserving, developing technique baking during the Middle Age. You have to know that monks dedicate their life for praying God, but as well, they were educated. Monks and nuns were educated and able to write a recipe. So they play a very important role in the preservation of recipes. And as they were very educated as well, they play a very important role in the culture technique. So for the sugar, but for a lot of other technique as well. Then the royal influence was very important because when the royal court embraced the art of pastry, everyone want to imitate it. And they were able to sponsoring skilled baker. So that was very impressive how the royal influence was able to spread the sugar roll around the world. At the Renaissance, art meets pastry. The Renaissance in Europe was dedicated to art. And it means that we need to increase the pastry skills to an art, because at the past, pastry was for the flavor, for the taste. And the way the presentation was not as important than at the Renaissance. At the Renaissance, a baking need to be beautiful, more elaborate, and reflecting the artistic sensibility of the era. And it was as well the rise of Italy in Europe. And Italy was at this time a little bit more sophisticated than France. And with the Queen Medicis, who was an Italian queen who was married to a French king, she brings a lot of technique in the French pastry. And she started to introduce the early baby of macaron. It was called amaretti. It was like a shell made with white eggs and almond. So it was not yet the macaron, but it was an introduction of the what will become a macaron after, and ice cream, a lot of things. So that was very important. And Renaissance, it's the art of science. Science was very important. So they created new oven, mold, and tools in order to increase the pastry art. You know, Louis XIV, called Louis the Sun King, and he had a sweet tooth. And when you have a king with a sweet tooth, French pastry takes the lead, because this kind of king wants to be all the time the best in something, the best in war, the best in art, the best in architecture, and as well as the best in pastry. So at the French court, under Louis XIV, it was renowned for its opulence and refined cuisine. Pastry, the art of the French pastry making, reached new height of sophistication, influencing baking tradition around the world. This became a symbol of wealth and sophistication. And you have new innovation like the pâte à choux, you know, the puff, the sweet puff, and caramel, because the caramel is a chemical technique of sugar and butter. And when you bring the sugar on a very high temperature with a liquid like butter, you have the caramel. That was a new technique as well, which emerged with this specific king. And this era also saw the codification of technique. That was important because when the king eats a pastry he likes a lot on Monday, he wants to eat it as well on Tuesday. And if it's not the same chef, if it's not the same technique, the king will not be very happy. So you need to write all your recipe down, and you have royal chef who start to have a sous chef, a lot of sous chef, and they speed their technique to the court in order to have pastry with the same flavor each time that the king is asking for. So the royal court employs skilled pastry chefs who create elaborate dessert for the king and his guests. Pastry as well is a statue, because it's a statue means that sugar, I told you, you need to be very rich in order to have sugar. So if you have pastry, means you are rich. So it's about the statue, and means you are wealthy, and they want to indicate to everyone that you are wealthy. So when you are making the reception, you need to have a lot of dessert. Nowadays, it's about some dessert around the table, but by the past, it was something like 20 desserts just for some guests, and less than 20 guests sometimes. And the technique spread through Europe and belong, leaving a lasting impact on global baking tradition. Do you know who is this guy? He's a very important person in France. It's Napoleon. And there is a turning point with Napoleon in the early 19th century in France, because he was a genius. We love a lot Napoleon. And he faced the continental blockade imposed by England. So the sugar didn't arrive anymore in France. And he decided that it can be blocked by English people. French and English people were not best friends at this time. And Napoleon encouraged the production of sugar from a local plant. So he asked some scientists to find out a solution to not be dependent on the production of the cane sugar. And the scientists discovered that the sugar beet could be an alternative to the cane sugar. In France, we have a lot of beet, which are not specifically in the north of France. And with the root of this beet, you are able to extract a juice and to transform it into sugar. So nowadays, we are producing a lot of beet sugar in France, and the beet sugar production is very, very important, and that we are eating all beet sugar in France. Something else arrived with the sugar. This is the industrial revolution. Everything changed because of the industrial revolution. It's about mechanization, it's about commercial bakery, and it's about standardization. What was homemade by the past can be made faster because of the mechanization. This is as well the introduction of mechanized oven. It's about flour mills, which are not like it was by the past. It will be a little one that you need to, and with your hand, you need to grind the mill, but it could be a big one working with the wind. But the mass production changed everything in the baking technique, and everything started to be accessible to the mass. And that's changed a lot in the standardization of bread and bakery. So the migration and the spread of technique. In France, we had a lot of technique that we spread, and European immigrants who arrived in the North America broke their bakery tradition, such as the served bread and pastry. Asian immigrants as well introducing their own baking technique, including the dim sum, the steamed buns, and the rice cake to new culture. And Latin American immigrants share their recipe for tortillas and paladas and sweet bread with other community. You have to know that in Europe, we didn't know anything about the corn, was cultivated in the zone of America. So we didn't know anything about tortillas and paladas and sweet bread made with corn. We need to wait even the war. There is a fun anecdote. You know that English and American English are not the same, and corn in US that doesn't mean the same than in England. And we were asking for wheat, and because of this mistake of translation, they bring us corn. And what to do with? So we had to introduce the Latin American technique. So the cross-pollination enriched baking, blending techniques and flavor from all around the world. The globalization of baking. Now baking has become increasingly globalized. The exchange of even ingredient technique and idea has resulted in a fusion of culinary tradition, creating a diverse and fascinating global baking landscape. And I want to say that today, baking is a global art, which means that in France, we're able to bake the same thing that in India, the same thing that in America, in Asia. So it's a global art. Modern technique and science in baking, it's bring more precision, more understanding on how to activate the yeast. For example, by the past, we were activating the yeast with a technique without understanding what's going on. Nowadays, we know what's going on. We know that it's about a bacteria, that the yeast is bringing dioxide of carbon dioxide. We know that if you combine the yeast with the salt, we kill the yeast. You know that if you combine the yeast with sugar, yes, it will increase the yeast activity. So because of science, we know a lot, and we are cooking and baking much more better. And then there are new ingredients which are introduced in bakery. We have alternative sugar. This is sugar without sugar. It's about aspartame, it's about stevia. A lot of sweets are nowadays different, and even if you are on diet, where you are able to eat sweets, which is great. We even have sugar with candies without any sugar inside, which is a miracle, and that could be very good. So now I would like to speak about the importance of bakery and confectionery in the world cuisine, and it's a journey into French tradition. So it's from the iconic bread, because in France we start with the bread, and we have nowadays the iconic macaron. Everyone knows the macaron in France. You know this famous brand La Durée, and we had a lot of secret on that, but today everyone can make macaron in his own kitchen. You just need to have the good ingredients and the good tools. About the bread, I told you it was a foundation of the French cuisine. We start with a loaf of bread. We continue with the baguette. I told you why we start with the loaf of bread. You know that by the past we had common events. The oven was shared by the village, and we have to prepare a big loaf of bread. With industrial revolution, the way of life changed a lot, and we don't need a big loaf of bread anymore. We don't need to make your own bread. You could buy it, and you don't need to have such a big loaf of bread. So you need something which is small, and the baguette was perfect. Baguette means stick in French. So, and this is a shirt, and it was something which was very easy to storage, very easy to carry, because you have to imagine that by the past we had a lot of delivery. So the bread delivery, it was a teenager bringing the bread to all the house in a chic neighborhood. And in order to carry the bread, you have two solutions. You could have a trolley, but the road was not very well made. So the best way to carry the bread, it has like a backpack, and you could feed your backpack with a stick of bread. So that was a baguette, was a very classic, is a very classic into the bread in France. I would say that 99% of French people buy only baguette, and very few people buy a loaf of bread. If you buy a loaf of bread, that means that you don't have direct access to a bakery, because you are living in the countryside and you don't want to go every day in order to buy your baguette. So the French bread is renowned for its diversity, from the classic baguette and to the airy brioche. The brioche as well is something which is very important in the French tradition. And it's not a bread because it's sweet, but the technique of the dough of the brioche is a little bit the same, but you just have to add a little of sweet inside. Viennoiserie, the art of laminated dough. That viennoiserie, it's absolutely fabulous. But I never advise a non-professional chef to do viennoiserie at home, because it's layers of flavor, but it's very challenging to make a good croissant. And in France, it's so cheap and so easy to have a very good croissant at the corner of your street that no one is doing the homemade croissant. So viennoiserie, the decadent pastry of France, are a testament to the skill and patience of French baker. That's flaky, buttery. The butter is very important in French technique. And the technique called lamination, where layers of dough are folded with butter. So it involves butter, it's a layer of dough, then a layer of butter, then a layer of dough. Then the way to fold it is very important. Then you need to let it rest. You have to start again. That's a labor of love, because yes, it's a classic delight, but it's a lot of work. So we love it. We call it simplicity of French bakery, and but that's a lot of work. Trust me. The butter, the role of butter in French baking, that's something very important. You have to know the butter, it's a milestone of the French bakery. That's extremely important. In some culture, you bake with oil, like in the north of Arabian country, north of Africa. Middle East, it's a lot of oil which are products. In France, it's about the butter. We love butter. Butter, it's a key ingredient in bakery. It's a test of texture. And we love so much the butter that we have different kind of butter. The color of the butter is very important. If the butter is too white, we will say, that's not a very good butter. It needs to be a little bit yellow. You need to have something creamy and nutty inside, and a white butter, for us, it's not a quality butter. I know that there are some regional butter like the beurre d'Isigny, which is very famous. And when you have this kind of butter, that's very important. So it makes something more rich, more better. And the butter, it's unpasteurized butter. In some culture, like US, they like to have pasteurized butter. And perhaps that's why they are not as good as French people or Indian people for the pastry. But it's very important for having a high quality to not pasteurize the ingredient. That's something which make a difference on the butter. So the classic pastry, cakes and tarts. There is something which is new. I told you it starts with the King Louis XIV. This is the art of presentation. French baker extends the presentation of their creation, and they want something which is good and beautiful as well. So the presentation start to be very important, which was not the case by the past. It was just because of the flavor was important. Flavor and texture are still important, okay? And the French pastry offer a diversity of range of flavor and texture. And the cultural significance of the French pastry has become a symbol of celebration, indulgence, and sophisticated taste. We are not eating sweet every day because we know that it's not the best for health. We don't want to be big. So the pastry is a symbol of feast. You have pastry for your birthday. You could have pastry on Sunday because Sunday is a very specific day. We have to celebrate. So yes, you have pastry. You have special pastry for wedding. For wedding, you have a kind of pastry. For birthday, you have another kind of pastry. For wedding, for example, we have the pyramid of choux, of puffy sweet choux. And that's something that the new bride and the groom, they need to bring a knife, a very big knife, and need to cut the cake together. That's a tradition. The cake is a symbol even on the wedding. So you will have a sweet life in your wedding with the sweet cakes. The stew pastry, yes, light and airy is another cornerstone of the French baking that you will find out in a lot of pastry. And we are making a lot of cake with those choux, with those puffy sweet choux. And you could fill them up with something or nothing. We like adding cream inside the choux. So inside the choux, we are piping in order to add something which is creamy. And I know that we are waiting for the macaron because the macaron, my God, this is a symbol of France. We have the Tour Eiffel and we have macaron. That's an iconic French cookie, symbol of fineness and artistry. And the technique of macaron, that's challenging, but not as challenging that you could do. You just need to have the good tools, the good oven, and the good ingredients. And macarons are quite easy compared to some other pastry, but it seems that the macaron need to be, for being fancy, need to be very complicated to make. So there's a lot of modern macaron. You have, of course, chocolate truffles, elegant praline. You have a lot of sweet in France, and we love eating them. So attention to technique, precision, and consistency. The measuring is fundamental in pastry. If you mess up with the measure of your pastry, you will not have the same texture. If you mess up with the oven temperature, you will not have the same pastry at the end. So it's very important in the precision, and the measure are very important. And as well, if you put bad ingredient in a pastry, you will have a bad pastry. You have to respect the ingredient. You need a good butter. You need, for example, for the macaron, you need a good almond flour. If the almond flour is not good, your macaron will not be fluffy, will not rise. You will have something which is not absolutely not the same than if you use high quality ingredients. Really, that's extremely important in French pastry to take care about the technique, the quality of ingredient, to measure all of your ingredients. And this way, you could have a very good pastry. And then with this technique, you will go to a presentation which is extremely beautiful. Because in French pastry, the presentation is just very important. It's as important as the taste. Nowadays, we are very famous French baker who are making presentation. They want to make a cake with pear flavor, and they made a pear. That's absolutely amazing. The presentation, you first start to eat with your eyes, and then your taste buds are exploding, and it's fantastic. So it's very important that first your eyes catch pastry, and second, your taste bud, you could eat it, and your palate will enjoy what you are eating. So technique like glazing, piping, and garnishing with edible gold or flour elevate the visual appeal. But there's something you need to avoid, because, for example, glazing, it's about sugar on the top of your cake. But it's very important to not kill the main flavor. If you're adding too much sugar, you will not have the sophistication of the main flavor. So the glazing is much more challenging, because if you want to have a beautiful glazing all over your pastry, you think that you need to add a lot of glazing. But if you add a lot, you don't have the main flavor anymore. So take very care about that. Now it's about the global influence about the French pastry and the impact on global cuisine. How the French pastry inspired global trends, and how other culture embraced and adapted the technique. So the global sweetness of French pastry, the influence of French baking and confectionery has spread far beyond France's border. First, because we had a lot of immigrants, some people go a little bit everywhere. And the French culinary art has become a global benchmark. And I would like that we see how other cultures have embraced and adapted their technique. So French technique in European baking. The French technique, I told you a little bit before, are well renowned for their precision and artistry. And it's from the classic pâte à choux and to the millefeuille with the technique of the foundation. And the European influence over the century, French technique have blended with local tradition in European country, creating unique and diverse pastry styles. Countries like Belgium, Germany, and Italy have embraced French pastry technique, leading to a rich tapestry of flavor and texture. The United States and the rise of French pastry. So United States try to have an imitation of French pastry, try to have the sophistication of French pastry. And we have chefs like Gaston Banchet and Jacques Torres, who try to revolution the American pastry with classic dessert from éclair to croissant. But they do not use the same ingredients, and they try to reinterpret the French pastry. That's not exactly the same, but that's great. French pastry technique and flavor arrived in the United States with early French settlers and immigrants, influencing the development of American pastry making. American adaptation. Over time, American pastry chefs adapted French technique and ingredient, creating their own signature creation. This adaptation have resulted into a unique American pastry style, combined classic French technique with American ingredient and flavor. Today, French pastry is incredibly popular in the United States with numerous pastry shops and offering a wide range pastry in French-inspired pastry and dessert. So, French pastry in Asia, this is a new fusion. Asian pastry was something which was not very different from the French pastry, and Japanese fusion and the technique of Japan and the technique of French fusion in order to give you fantastic pastry like the matcha and azuki beans, which are absolutely fantastic. Chinese fusion. French pastry has been influenced by Chinese culinary tradition. And you have the moon cake, which is absolutely amazing. And Korean fusion as well. Korean pastry chefs have incorporated the traditional Korean flavor and technique into their French pastry. And the result was absolutely incredible. The introduction of the French pastry with Latin America, I call it love affair with French pastry. They are totally fond of French pastry, but they don't have the same flour. For example, I told you in Latin America, it's a lot about corn flour. We don't have the corn flour like we don't use it in France. We use it a lot in Latin American. So they are preparing a lot of pastry with corn different. And then I want to speak a little bit about, I know that it was seen a little bit before, the role of social media in spreading the French pastry. Because when you are in France, you always take picture about the croissant, about a lot of pastry that you post online. And it was as well a way to spread the French technique and the French pastry around the world. I want to say that the importance of the French pastry school worldwide is something which is huge. I'm sure that you know some school like the Cordon Bleu who were able to spread the French technique, and the education system has contributed significantly to spread the French pastry technique globally. So you have the school of Cordon Bleu in Paris, but you have a lot of other schools. And it was a way to preserve the tradition, to train future chefs, and to have a global impact in the French pastry. And the French pastry influences on modern trend. Nowadays, we have a molecular gastronomy, so which means that it's something I am doing. I love doing that. I take the extract of the flavor. I'm making a cream with I don't know what, the flavor of the rose. And then with the molecular technique, you have some drop of rose combined with a chocolate cake, for example. That's really important. About the sustainable practice, it's very, very important in Europe to be sustainable. And we need to use the local ingredient. We don't want to have an impact on the planet. We know that we have to preserve the planet, and the impact of sustainable practice is extremely important. And there is a new trend in Europe. I know that it's not the case in India, because vegan, it's something which is very normal, but vegan in Europe, that's something which is very new. There was 20 years ago, no one was vegan. We were not able to understand what a vegan person was. Vegan and vegetarian and gluten-free option, that's something which grew up, and we have to develop new technique in order to have pastry which are vegan, gluten-free, and low carbs. And chefs are absolutely amazing because they are able to do, at the beginning of this trend, I said, "Pooh, that's not possible. Baking without any flour, baking without any sugar, pop, that's a nonsense." Nowadays, I know that it's possible and it could be good. And I'm very impressed by all the chefs who created vegan and gluten-free options for people. So why French pastry is timeless? What makes French pastry timeless is its perfect balance between tradition and innovation. Really, I really think that because I told you when we arrive at baking, vegan baking, we are able to make something which is iconic in France on a vegan way. Macaron on a vegan way. Oh, but we see that it was totally possible. I would like to speak about the cultural and emotion power of the French pastry, because I know when you heard about French pastry, oh, your heart is melting like a chocolate cake in your mouth. And it's important, the importance of bakery and confectionery in the world cuisine. That's something as well. Pastry, I really consider that pastry is a celebration of life. Really. So when you want to celebrate someone, it's with a pastry. When it's a birthday, it's a pastry. When it's a wedding, it's a pastry. And for example, for that's something which is important as well for the Valentine's Days, it's about pastry, it's about chocolate. So the pastry is celebrating life. The joy in life is through the pastry. And the pastry has tradition and heritage. Family, so in my family, there is a specific cake that we need to learn. And when there is an event, let's make the pastry from grandma. That's something very important. So the pastry is emotion. It's about culture. That's something that we love. Pastry is a gift of love, for affection, creating memory. Creating memory, in France, we have a very famous author called Marcel Proust, and his book, starting with a memory of his childhood about Madeleine. He said for a long chapter how much he loves this cake called Madeleine, and he is able to remember how it was smelling and how this pastry bringing him back in his childhood. And that's why pastry is a gift of love. It's creating memories. So we have a large psychological impact of pastry, because pastry, it's dopamine, it's nostalgia, and it's a sensory delight. So that's why we could speak about pastry influence in psychology. It's as well an identity. Depending on where you live, you will not eat the same. I told you, for example, in some area like Bretagne in France, it's the north of France, they got some very specific pastry like the kouign-amann, which made with a lot of butter, apples. But in the south of France, you don't have apple. You have orange, you have lemon. So we have pastry different depending where you live, because you don't have the same variety of ingredients and you have local specificity in pastry. Pastry is an universal language. So the future of bakery and confectionery, I'm sure that something amazing is waiting for us, which will be more sustainable. We will have even more innovation. We will eat better than by the past. But we really need to take care of being eco-friendly in the way to practice and to use local ingredients. Local ingredients, that's, I think, the future of pastry. Technique do not need to be local. Technique could be global, but the ingredients need to be local. That's something which is important. And there is a AA power inside. Nowadays, the artificial intelligence is able to play a role in the art of baking. For example, I did it once. I put the ingredient that I have in my fridge in ChatGPT. I said, let's make something. And I put all the ingredients that I had in my fridge, And ChatGPT was able to give me a menu with recipes. And I don't know if you heard that some artificial intelligence were able to combine because of the molecule in some ingredient. So I will say licorice will have those molecule, and then chocolate will have those molecule. And the artificial intelligence is able to analyze, oh, if you combine those two molecules, you will have something amazing. And you, because I told you licorice with chocolate, you think, oh no, this combination, when you think about that's weird, I don't want to bake that. But because artificial intelligence told you, there is a possibility you could make something different, let's try it. And you have something which is new. I know that I'm a little bit long and I try to sum up a little bit everything and the role of education for the next generation. And oh my God, wealth and wellness as well. That's something which is important in the future of the pastry. We don't want anymore to have, you know, that there's a big deal with the white sugar. It's say that it's too refined, same for the flour. And we start to have ingredients which are better for your health. That's something which is new. We have the knowledge that now we have to change the ingredient to have better ingredient. I don't know. Oh, the origin of the croissant. I would like to finish with some example, if we have enough time, about the croissant, the origin of the croissant, because croissant is very, very French. But it's said that the croissant wasn't started in France, but in Austria. But French people bring the technique, and oh my God, the technique was totally different nowadays. And there's a little technique that I want to speak a little bit about the tarte tatin. I always say the tarte tatin is not an apple pie. It's a kind of upside down pie. We love a lot in France. We have some iconic desserts with different kind of technique. And that's something, oui, végétarien, il mange rien. So, I think that I overpassed a little bit my time and I was not fast enough to speak about everything, but I think the main subject was there. And do you have any question?
Yes, ma'am. I have a question. So
Yes,
I lived in
please.
France for a couple. I lived in France for a couple of years, and in some places you could still see pizza cooked on a wooden oven, four à bois.
Yes.
So
Oui,
these
tout à fait.
quintessentially French dishes like viennoiserie and others, in the beginning, before electricity, were they also cooked on wooden ovens?
So at the beginning, we were all cooking in a wooden oven, and the wooden oven was not in the house itself. It was shared with other people. You have to imagine a village. So they all had fireplace, but no oven. So they were building an oven in the village itself, which was shared by the people of the village. So that's why I say that it could be on Monday, I will have the access to the oven, and then on Tuesday. Pizza, it's something which is new in the French culture. So that's there was 100 years ago, we were never making a pizza. It was just the oven was for the bread, for the pastry like brioche, but not for pizza. So, and after, of course, we use electricity oven, and the electricity oven is individual. So, and at this moment, the way of cooking and baking was totally different, because when you have access to your oven only once a week, you need to prepare all you need for the full week. When you have access to your oven every day, you could make small portions. So you have fresh ingredients, always fresh ingredients. So that changed a lot. The electricity changed a lot. The industrial revolution changed everything about the technique.
So you mentioned that now vegan dishes are becoming popular in Europe. I'm happy about that
Yes.
because way back in 2005, when I used to travel in France, it was very difficult. And when I used to say vegetarian, they would bring me fish, they would bring me chicken, they would bring me egg. And when I used to explain, somebody would tell, there is a different word for that. You should tell them as végétalien. Végétalien, il
Yes.
mange rien.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so I'm
You,
happy
you know,
that now
there's
it is increasing level. Yeah, go ahead.
there is something which is very fun. One of my friends say, "Oh, my little boy, my teenager boy got a new girlfriend," and she say, "Oh my God, oh la la, I'm not happy with this new girlfriend. You know what? She's vegan." And all of us were, "Oh la la, that's not good." We love so much food when that by the past, when someone say, "I'm vegan," it's you don't like eating. We were not able to understand what vegetarian or vegan means. There was only 20 years ago, only 20 years ago. So vegan culture, vegetarian, we start with vegetarian culture and vegan culture arrived. And much more people in France are aware about the fact that meat is not the best for your health condition. And we start to change that. And the future of the pastry is more and more vegan. So we try to avoid a lot of ingredients. We want to transform a lot of ingredients, flour, sugar. We know that's not the way we produce it. That's not the best. And we want to change that. So less raffinated sugar, the canned sugar, white perhaps is not the best. Better to use a brown sugar rather than a white sugar. The flour, there's a beginning of scandal. Why so much people now are gluten intolerant? There was 20 years ago, no one was intolerant to gluten, and now everyone is intolerant to gluten. At the beginning, I said, "Pull down diet, they don't want to eat bread." But it seems that it's real. There's something going on with the flour. So the quality of ingredients are extremely important for the flavor and for your health.
Ma'am,
Yes.
hello. Ma'am,
Yes,
namaste.
hello.
Uh,
Namaste.
Ma'am, I have one question for you, ma'am. Thank you for, first
Yes.
of all, thank you so much for the insightful talk on French cuisine. My question is to you is, how do you differentiate between souffle, mousse, and bavarois in French entremet de sucre? So, what are the, apart from lightest to heaviest, being the bavarois the heaviest, what are the other differences in between these three dessert, French dessert?
The technique is extremely different. The souffle, you have your pastry, which in the oven grew up a lot. And when you remove it, because the temperature, the shock of temperature, the souffle will go down. The mousse, the technique, you do not bake anything in a mousse. You do not put anything in the oven for the mousse. The mousse introducing something which is airy inside. Most of the time you have the white eggs that you let grow them up until stiff. So you beat your eggs until they are very rised. And then you introduce the white eggs into another mixture. It could be chocolate in order to have something which is very hairy, but it will not go down back. The baba, it's just a regular technique of cake, introducing just a little of a baking powder, so it will raise up and it will not move. It will be fixed. So that's the three different techniques.
Thank you, ma'am. So the souffle must be baked.
You're welcome. Sorry,
Hello, Chef.
yes, hello.
Good evening. Last week
Good
I was
afternoon.
in France. I was in Annecy and Lyon, and I walked around the markets. They had different types of paste, like tomatin, olive, and all that, like mounds of paste. And they give little
Yes.
bread and this paste and for tasting. Is this typically French or is it Italian?
I will say that Lyon is very inside the land of France, and it's not typical French. Olive, it's a soon. So it could be the tune of France, because the influence of Italy with the tune of France is very deep. And the olive, it's a much more technique from the tune of France, because in order to have olive, you need to have sun, to have olive tree. And it's not in Lyon that you have a lot of olive tree. No. So that could come from the tune of France and Italy as well.
Okay, one more question. I lived in Europe some 20 years back, but after 20 years now when I go, there's a lot of change. There's more of convenience food. Everybody's going into a supermarket and picking up their salad and lasagnas and pastries and all that and going home. So how much do you think currently the French people are cooking at home, and how much percentage they are buying food in the supermarket?
So we are still in a cooking culture. So I can see my friend all are cooking, baking. That's something which is important. We have a different level. For some people, could be very easy. For some other, not. And I can see in the young generation that they still love cooking, but they don't want to cook like their parents. For example, my son loves Asian cuisine, but he's cooking himself the Asian cuisine. He do not buy it, because the young generation, when they start to cook, they need money. And if you buy too much at the supermarket, you don't have enough money at the end of the month. So they are still cooking a lot. I will say that this is around 30 years old that people are cooking less because they are rushing in their job. They start to have money, so they are able to buy things in the supermarket or restaurants or food delivery. We have food delivery, of course. Uber Eats is quite popular, but it's not a part of the society. For example, right now I'm at my parents. They are living in the city, which is neither big, neither small, and there is no Uber Eats in their city, and they don't care. That's not something which is important. So the food, yes, of course, some people are cooking less, but in the French culture, that's so much important to have good food. But if you are looking to a soccer match, it's about pizza that you order. Yes, it's a delivery, depending of the context. But if you want to make an invitation, you need to prepare, really.
So my question is, do you think it is keep on increasing the convenience food, or do you think there is a good balance?
I think that it is a good balance.
Okay.
I think there is a good balance, really.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
My name is Chef Gurinder. I'm working from past, I think, 8 years in the bakery and pastry line, and I love to watch the history that we have explained today. And it was a very excited session for me. As I'll be talking about a basic technique that we use in the baking now, which is scoring that we use in the bread. Is a use of part of a artisanal form. But earlier, I think scoring was used as in patterns to indicate the ownership and quality. I've read many of the textbooks where it has explained that it was used by the guild as a marking of guild for distinctive symbols to show the membership or to show the adherence of the guild standards. So is it true that scoring was earlier used to show the membership or the granting the authenticity of the breads and quality?
Yes, it's true. So we have to take very care about. So there are guild. We have a guide in order to tell us what are the standard for having a good bread, etc. After you could make different kind of bread, but there is a guide, and if you want to have a kind, for example, for having the denomination of traditional baguette, you need to follow a specific recipe, and yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Bon après-midi, madame. Je suis Rajpreet. Je suis professionnel.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. C'est un plaisir d'avoir des personnes qui parlent français.
Mercy. Madam, my question is, I'm a professor of business management, not a chef. My question is that, is there something that French cuisine has adopted from Asia or something from outside France? Which
Yes.
as we say that, nowadays, Chinese and Italian, something that is trending. People are crazy, kids are crazy about pizza and Chinese fast food, at least in India. So something that French cuisine has adopted from some other nation or civilization.
Cinnamon, for example, that's something, the introduction of cinnamon is quite new in the French cuisine. And even I'm a little bit, Americans are pouring cinnamon a little bit everywhere when it's about apples. And we start to introduce cinnamon, ginger, that's something which is new. For example, kiwi. I remember the first time in my life when I saw kiwi, I was a teenager, and my mom bring back from the supermarket kiwi, and I said, "What's that? Mango." Now we have a lot of dessert. We will have fruit pie with mango, but this is a fruit which is very new in the French culture. It was introduced, there was only 20 years ago. So I really remember the first time I saw kiwi, the first time I saw mango, passion fruit. We have a lot of fruits which are new. You know something about pineapple? Pineapple was introduced, I will say, at the beginning of the 19th century. And it was so fancy that people were renting pineapple. You have to imagine people, I rent a pineapple for one day, but I don't want to eat it. I just want to put it on the middle of my table to say, oh, you see, I have a pineapple. And when I go out, instead of having a bag, a purse with me, poof, I bring my pineapple in order to see, you see, I have a pineapple. So yes, the evolution of the French pastry is by introducing ingredients for all over the world. The tonkabine, this bean from Brazil, which got a flavor between almond and vanilla. That's something
Right.
very new. I think 5 years ago we never heard about the tonkabine, and now it's extremely popular to bake with tonkabine, to cook with tonkabine for sweet and savory. So we try to introduce a lot of new ingredients in the pastry, and we love exploring because nowadays it's easy to travel. So you have to imagine a chef in an Indian market saying, "What's that? I never heard about," and coming back at home with a lot of new ingredient for him and trying to find out some technique in order to add it into a new recipe.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was delight listening to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ma'am, one more thing.
Yes.
I heard actually every profession has certain respect in a society. In India, I would say chefs are only recently recognized. Before, if you are a chef, you are from a lower category of profession. But in France, it is as good as a doctor or an engineer. That's what I was told. Is that true? A chef is highly respected in France?
Yes. Yes, but highly no. Highly respected, yes. Highly respected, no.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yeah, this is Chef Anup here. Ma'am, just I want to ask that most of the people are nowadays health conscious, right?
Yes.
So in coming era, can gluten-free flour or millets flour can replace the role of refined flour in the pastry making?
I don't know what will be our future about the different flour, but we have much more people who are not able to tolerate the gluten, and the flour seems to be different by the past. So we are all conscious that we have to take care with the quality of ingredients. And I think that in a few, we will have a huge scandal about the flour. So there's something which is going on. And we could start to have some article about some scientists about we have to take care of the flowers, the way that we raffinated the flour is not the same than by the past. So I think the future will be different, and probably we will create new technique, perhaps for having gluten-free flour. But we need a little of gluten, because the gluten is a very important ingredient to have a coagulation between different ingredients. So
Correct, ma'am.
so if it's not flour, we need to find something else. I don't know what it will be, because it's about the future, but I really think that we need to have a different quality of flour. We need to take care of the quality of the flour, the quality of sugar, in order to eat good and healthy.
Right, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome. Any other question? I see a little note about the Ratatouille movie, and I want to say that this movie, the rat didn't make a ratatouille. The ratatouille was born in the south of France in Nice, and you need to cook a long time all your vegetables. So I saw this movie. Do not make a ratatouille with this technique. Yes, please go. But it's sure that being a chef in Paris could be a fancy profession. That's true. That's true. And with Emily in Paris as well, the chef in Paris, it's a fancy profession. That's true. Yes, all the movie nowadays. I understand what you when you ask about the respect of a French chef, if it's well respected. So yes, the movies promote the French chef like Ratatouille. Like Emily in Paris, I imagine that you also Emily in Paris, and the boyfriend is a chef, and the promotion of the food in this little Netflix production is quite important. Yes, it's a fancy profession, but it's a fun profession. I always say cooking and baking, it's life, because you are doing something you love, and then when it's finished, you can eat what you did, and you continue to enjoy. So if you don't have any question, I think that someone else is waiting for his conference. So please go ahead. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Yes, ma'am. So a big thank you to Chef Emma for sharing her incredible knowledge and passion for French cuisine, bakery and confectionery with us today. Chef Emma, your journey from the heart of France to becoming the founder of the French Hostess and the French Candy is truly inspiring. Your dedication is bringing French elegance and culinary traditions to life is something we all admire. We all are grateful for your insight into significance of bakery and confectionery, not just in French cuisine, but around the world. Your personal connection to the craft and your commitment to sharing it with others have left a lasting impression on all of us. Thank you for inspiring us, for making today's session so enriching. Now, moving ahead, please join me in welcoming Chef Ganesh Damodaran, a seasoned culinary expert with over 15 years of experience, here to share his invaluable insight into food innovation and culinary excellence. Chef Damodaran is a highly experienced and ambitious culinary professional with over 15 years in food and hospitality industry. Currently, he holds the position of Senior Culinary Chef Application and Research and Development at Griffith Food in Bangalore. where he continues to make significant contributions in food innovations and research. His career journey began in the early stages at Marriott Hotels, where he worked in various roles, progressing from an associate to a kitchen executive and later to CTP. Over the Marriott Hotels, he has worked in various roles, progressing from associate to kitchen. Okay, I'm sorry. Over the years, he has honed his skills to expertise in product development, principles, and cultural food skills. Chef Ganesh has also held prominent roles such as deputy manager in product development at Intergrow brand and assistant manager in F&B applications in plant lipids. These roles have allowed him to develop an extensive understanding of food trends and innovation, always focusing on quality and adhering to pushing them to exceed targets. His dedication to fostering professional relationship with his ability to communicate effectively with has earned him the respect of his peers. Ganesh's educational background include a 3-year diploma in hotel management from Cannon School of Catering and Hotel Management in an MBA in hospitality management from IIBMS. Fluent in Tamil, Hindi, Telugu, and Malayalam, he brings a diverse cultural perspective to his work, which complements his culinary expertise. With his vibrant personality, passion for food, and proven track record in both culinary arts and management, Chef Ganesh Damodaran is a true leader in field of food and hospitality. We are privileged to have him with us today, and I'm sure his insight will inspire us all, offering valuable perspective on culinary innovation and excellence. Chef Ganesh Damodaran, we kindly invite you to enlighten the audience with your extensive expertise and insight into the world of culinary innovation and excellence. Chef, I would request you to enlighten the audience. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Jyoti. It's a great
My pleasure,
honor
sir.
being in this platform today. And thanks for the wonderful introduction. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Myself, Chef Ganesh Damodaran, a senior culinary chef for Griffith Foods, Bangalore. So today we are going to discuss about food processing, operation, and innovation. So the today's content is we're going to talk about a few slides about Griffith Foods and what is the food processing, what are the challenges happening in food processing, future trends and opportunities, and what is the role of a chef in this in FMCG. And I'm going to talk about more on global innovation and Griffith innovation. Sorry for interrupting. Hope my screen is visible, right? Is my screen is visible for everybody? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible and screen is visible.
Yeah. Thank you. So Griffith Foods is a 104 years global company which is based out of US in Chicago. So in India, it's located in Bangalore. The corporate office and the production unit is in India. Is it located in Bangalore? So Griffith Foods, it's more than a product developer. We offer a customer's expertise and added value in their areas by 9 different tools which generally Griffith uses to produce a product for a customer. Just to, instead of saying produce product, I'll say to solve, give a solution for the customer. It'll be based on more on customer insights, culinary, food science, sensory science, health and nutrition, partnership and ecosystem, and leveraging technology and shared value. So any project happens in Griffith, we always go through a tool called consumer insights. Where consumer insights will clearly give us a clear picture what exactly happening, what are the trends going in the global. So based on that, we can create a product, and this insights will help a culinary team to create and develop a concept. So based on the concept, food science will develop the product, and it will go to the sensory to understand how the product is along with the customers. Once that is done, that are the major way we develop a project for a client. So on that, apart from that, the product should be of health and nutrition, and we develop partnership and ecosystem with different vendors, farmers, so that we can go more sustainable.
Excuse me, chef. Sorry to disturb. Can
Yeah.
you make it as a slideshow so we can see the slides?
So you couldn't able to see my slide?
No, we can see it's too small. You should make it as a slideshow. There is a one.
Sorry. Sorry. I forgot.
Yeah.
Now is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you. So partnership ecosystem, which we build through different networks for our raw material, sustainable raw material. And we do a shared value because we, as a company, we are progressing towards a sustainability. That is our aspiration for 2030. So we want to do a sustainable product, partnering to create a sustainable food system source to the entire environment, so that we serve the people, planet, and performance to create the most overall value for it. So Griffith overall presence in the world, it's an American company, so it's most of this manufacturing units are placed in America. So we have 10 manufacturing units in America, 4 in Europe. We have 1 in Middle East, 1 in Africa, and we have 6 in Asia Pacific. And we have a product development locations, that is our R&D center and culinary center, which is located in Europe, which is located in Asia Pacific, 1 in India. The India is which is located in Bangalore. So portfolio of Griffith, what does Griffith does? To give you, to make you successful in food industry, you need to have a greater portfolio of product solutions rather than a portfolio of product. So your products should give you a solution to your customers. So we generally focus on 6 criteria where major zones where we have designed our product. It is seasoning, sauces and dressing, texture and coating, functional blends, soups and slice, and dough blends. So these are our 6 parameters where we are known for the expertise. So generally in India, I hope everybody would have heard the brand called Custom Culinary. So it is belong to Griffith Foods actually. So Custom Culinary is driven for a HoReCa segment. So whom we serve. So this particular slide which I'm sharing, the reason is this is how the food processing also divided. If you see food processing and operation will be divided in, it will be targeted to different audience like food service, food processors, distributors, and retail. Like food service, it's basically your QSR, KFC, McDonald's, Domino's. These are the clientele which comes into food service where their product definition, the product approach, product development, even process, everything is different. Similarly, processor, again, processor means protein processor. Protein processor also, again, the process for a protein processor works mostly for QSR as well as HoReCa segment, where the product has been seen in a different angle. Especially in HoReCa segment, it's a limited portfolio, but to cater a larger audience. In QSR, it's a larger portfolio to cater different audience. So the process, R&D, innovation, everything will be different. If you go to distributor is through majorly HoReCa products. HoReCa means hotel, restaurant, catering products, which is done through distribution model, where all the products catering to a HoReCa will be a different segment. The approach is also different. The production also is different. Even R&D is also different, keeping a different approach to that clientele. So in retail, retails are the product which is, we call it as a private labeling. Means you develop a product for a certain brand. Like example, you do for a Wakefield. Wakefield is known for their bakery goods and they are new launching sauces. So one of few sauces which is done by Griffith. So similar kind of approach to clientele who does retail product, where they have the R&D facilities, but they don't have a production unit, or maybe if they don't have an R&D also. So they people like Griffith will do R&D for them, as well as that we develop the product, including packaging, logistics, everything. We will try to help them out. Even labeling, regulatory, all the works we will try to do from our end. So it gives you overall package for a client. That's called retailing products. So now we are going into the main topic. What is food processing? As like food processing, it's a very essential tool in current generation, current time, due to so many other factors. Food processing is generally it refers to a transformation of your raw ingredients into a finished product. It can be done through a mechanical, can be done through a chemical or biological process. Why we do food processing? Basically, we do food processing just to give a proper food safety, extended shelf life, and enhance the convenience. Food processing can be very simple actions like washing, cutting, or more complex process like cooking, fermenting, or a packaging. It is very critical in modern food productions and plays a very vital role in feeding global population. With this, I want to share my experience. Reese, like 3 months before, I had an opportunity to go to Kigali to represent my brand there. So where I got a great opportunity to visit the local market. So where I could see a lot of this local market people, they don't have a proper food processing, food background, food technology, preserving technology. So they simply dumping the tomatoes, onion, mushrooms, everything. So when I asked a local person who is representative for our brand also, so I checked with him what is the reason why they are throwing all this product, because there is a huge process goes behind creating a crop, creating a vegetables or maybe any product. It has a lot of time involved, money involved, process involved, and human manpower also involved. So I asked him why it's happening there, because in Africa, places like Rwanda, they don't know what is the food processing method actually. So with that gave us a great opportunity to develop like a partnership along with the vendor. So we approached a local guy. So with him, who we educated, we trained them so that he can able to take this product. He processes like mushroom trimmings. He dried it to solar and made a mushroom powder. And tomatoes, we taught him how to make puree or paste, which still in the process because it need a setup. So that is not at progress yet, but the mushrooms they started doing it. So by that you will get one byproduct also. So it will be helpful for your processing oriented products like your ready-made noodles, seasonings, and other things where you can use your mushroom powder. So similarly, so if you use this food processing tool in a proper way, where we can save a lot of food ingredient going waste, which where by default you're giving extended shelf life to the product, which will that's in one way you're doing great of like what you are playing a vital role in feeding a global population. So types of food processing. Food processing involves like 6 different processes, like primary, secondary, tertiary, mechanical process, chemical process, and thermal process. So in primary process, it involves a very basic raw food material for further use, like you are butchering a cow meat or you grinding a wheat into a flour. That's a very primary process of food processing. So which will it also includes a small basic cleanings like packaging, storing, and refrigerating raw food so that it ensures that it doesn't spoil and before reaching the customer. So when it comes to a secondary processing, it involves transferring the primary product into an edible product. Like in first process, we are doing a wheat into a flour. Here, the secondary process, we are turning the wheat flour into bread, cakes, biscuits, cookies. So that's one small example for a secondary process where a cooking method like washing, peeling, chopping, baking, frying, all this can be done in a secondary process. So this also will include simple preservation method like your canning, smoking, salting, and drying. So this is all a very basic secondary process which you give a shelf life for a product. In tertiary processing, that is in large scale manufacturing, we call it as RTE and RTC, which is called ready to eat food and ready to cook food. Such a like frozen meals, baked goods. The term these are the product which comes under tertiary process. The term processed food usually refer to this tertiary processing. So that's a main processing where the food is being treated in a different level. So it's a very important process in the food processing method. Second, the fourth one is mechanical process, where physically you're transforming your food using equipment and machinery. So in mechanical process, food is usually, In this process, food processing is usually a physical method to change the structure of the food overall by either chopping, grinding, mixing, and emulsifying. So this is all done through a mechanical process. Mechanical process we can divide into two types, like mechanical extraction or a mechanical separation. Extraction, which we generally would have seen in our day to, like generally like chefs would have known it, cold pressed or a wooden pressed oils, which is the best example for mechanical extraction. Whereas a hydraulic press has been given to a ingredient to extract the oil from it. So that is mechanical extraction. And mechanical separation, there's a process where filtration, centrifuging, sieving, and sedimentation can be done in this project, especially removing fat from milk substance, which centrifuge used to do it. So these are the process comes under mechanical food processing. Chemical, then everybody would have known. It is one of the another main used process where it helps you to prevent extended life by adding chemicals which are not harmful to a human being. So understanding the chemical process, it will helps you to keep your food safe, palatable, and nutritious. And thermal process. Thermal process, again, it's a it you can say it will help you to uh, kill the bacteria either by a heating method, UHT treat method, or a pasteurization method, or by homogenization, not even homogenization, pasteurization UHT treated, where we would have seen a Tetra Pak container of milk and all. So that is achieved through a thermal process, where the milk has been heated in 15 seconds at the temperature of 70 degree and has been bring back to the 4 degrees Celsius within 15 seconds. So in that way, your milk still remains raw, but you can able to kill your microbes and you can extend the shelf life. So in processing of any food particles, any food ingredient, basically when you develop any recipes or any food like a ready to meal or something or sauces, so you have to consider two parameters, which is physical and chemical. Physical chemical process, it is like we call it as IMF. It's intermediate moisture food, and one is active water activity and addition of chemicals and pH control. Especially these four items mostly comes under the wet products like your gravies, sauces, wet marinades. This all comes under these four categories. So intermediate moisture food, basically, the best example is your cakes, breads, even cakes, breads. That's the best example where the moisture level is high, water activity level is also high, but still you required that much of water to make that product. So at the same time, you can't keep this product in an unsafe zone. So to control your water, you add all the mobilizing agents like your glycol, a polysorbate, uh, PG, or polysorbates, and can be used so that the water get mobilized and your water level and water activity doesn't go more than a 0.85 percentage. So the critical temperature, critical percentage of water activity should be kept between 6 to 8.5. That is a safe zone. So above than that, you will find a lot of mold will be formed in the breads and cakes. So to avoid that, you have to control the water activity. Addition of chemicals. If you see majority of our gravies which are done hot filled. Hot filled is another process where your product is cooked and holded at 90 degrees Celsius for 3 minutes. Then it is straight away packed in a packing in packages like aluminum pouches or PDP pouches, where this product is packed at the temperature of 80 degree and that is sealed and put it in cold bath. So that automatic sterilization happens. Due to this, the product will get a lot of shelf life. But still, India is very vast and very different in our climatical nature. So we can't take chance. That's the reason we add a few chemicals. Like I won't say it's chemicals, it's called a preservatives, like polysorbates for your mayo-based sauces, sodium benzoate for your hot sauces and other gravies, which will help you to keep your product more safer around by 6 months to 9 months maximum. And another parameter is pH control. pH is nothing but acid nature in your product. If the product has a great shelf, if you want to create a great shelf, then pH also plays a very vital role, where you have to control your pH between 3.5 to 4.25. That's the ideal range to control your pH. So that the product will look slightly in acidic form, but that's how it can be treated. Otherwise, you can't give a shelf life to the product. It's my personal experience. I face this problem with when I go on develop my product and present to any culinary chefs. First thing, even though the sauce tastes nice, everything nice, they feel that acidic nature is there. One point of view, and I hope all the audience would have ever tried some ready-made product which is available in supermarket shelves. If you taste that, the product would have been tasting nice, but you will be getting that pH acidic nature. That is done to preserve the product for a longer shelf life. And physical processing method. So when it comes to physical processing method, 6 categories are there where the food has been processed in that format, like sterilization. So as everybody knows what is sterilization, you kill you with a bacteria in certain amount of time, so that to increase the shelf life of a product, especially for the milk. Milk and dairy product comes under sterilization. Retorting. Retorting is another cooking technique where your product is first cooked and is not exposed, and is packed and cooked in the chamber with a high pressure and steam, and cooked for a high temperature for about like 120 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. So this will give you product for a shelf life of almost 1 year, 1.5 years. So the retort pot has got one minus advantage, because the product is again going through a long heating temperature where this product can react at any time. So that's one minus disadvantage in retort product. But if you see in comparatively with retort product with hot filled product, retort product doesn't give you that acid knot, but the taste profile as well as the aroma profile won't be great in retort. But in hot fill, the aroma, taste, everything will be in a very different, unique form, but the acid will be the minus point there. So that's the difference between hot filled and retort. And if you see a lot of Indian gravies now, few sauces are been done in retorting form to give a more shelf life. Homogenization. Homogenization, again, it plays a very great role in dairy industry. Few in sauces like ketchups done homogenization, where the fat particles has been broken down into finer particles, and it will be mixed along with the milk so that you will get that even fat texture throughout the milk. And even if you keep it in refrigeration for around 1 or 2 days, still it doesn't give you that much bad impact in it. So it will be smoother, and when you cook it, the too much of fat substance won't come up in homogenized milk. Extrusion. Extrusion is, if you have seen in supermarkets, hypermarket, there is a lot of extruded products are available, like kurkure, some chips. You can find some different types of extruded potato items, which is available in the market. So it's done through a process where your product is formed into a soft dough, and it is pressure high. It has been passed through high pressure with a die. So based on your shape and size, you can change your dies accordingly. So you will get the appropriate shape. And then it is either air dried or it can be fried. So both options are there. Mostly extrusion, almost 95%, it's all air dried. Like example, kurkure is the best example for it. Pasteurization. Pasteurization, again, that is also a very vital process for a dairy product, where you are pasteurizing your milk to give you additional like shelf life for the product. Emulsions. Emulsion, again, a very interesting collaboration of process, where this two unmixable liquid, where we'll try to emulsify it together with different stabilizers, starches to bind together. So the best example is mayonnaise, and India is consuming a good amount of mayonnaise per every day. You can say it sells like and if you go to any shops, any restaurants, even normal chaat guy or momo guy, they all now started using mayonnaise. Mayonnaise became a very a very crazed product in India where everybody started consuming from a child to an adult. They love eating mayonnaise. So that is done through an emulsion method. What are food operations? So earlier we have seen what is the food processing. So based on the processing, when you design a product, then it will be handed over to a food operation team. So where food operation team plays a very major role to where the product has been designed earlier, but it has to be scaled up in a food operations. So food operation involves execution of process required to manufacturing food products efficiently to maintain the quality and compliance with safety standards. So food operation, components of operation is divided into 4 categories. It can change as per the size of the operation. So basic, what I'm talking here is about the basic structure. So it's procurement, production, quality control, and distribution. So once R&D has designed a product and done the scale up for a pilot trial, once everything is set, when the order comes, it directly get initiated to operation teams, where operation team will be in charge for the whole soul and soul production activity, where they will be procurement team, where they are responsible for procuring the high source and quality ingredients. It may be an organic spice or a steam sterilized or ETO product, whatever mentioned as per the spec mentioned by the R&D team. So the quality of the ingredient defines the product, as every chefs will accept that the more quality ingredients you put, you will get a product quality output out of it. So procurement plays a very crucial role there, and currently it's highly challenging to get a high good quality raw material due to a lot of natural natural calamities as well as climate change, due to as we are slowly moving into sustainability also. So sourcing a high quality raw material currently is a great challenge. Once the procurement is done, so quality control plays a role in the initial stage. Once the procurement is done, the raw material arrives in the factory, then again quality will do all the analysis parameters as per mentioned by the R&D team. Even if you see any like your salt spec of your salt, your mesh size of your all ingredients, the moisture content of your product, is there any preservative added in your oil? All this control basic checks will be done by QC, and once they done, they are okay with the, then they will approve the product. Then it goes to the store into the store team. So once that is done, then the production team comes in the process, where all this initial process like your milling, mixing, grinding, emulsifying, bottling, all done by the process production team. It was all done through a stringent process where everything will be measured equally and everything will be blended as per the spec given by the R&D, because there's a way to add on ingredients by stage. So like if an emulsion, you can't add everything together and blend and make an mayonnaise. It doesn't work in that way. So when you do an emulsion process in a scale up level, the process will be very different. As per the different product, you have to, like if I'm doing a peri peri mayo, tandoori mayo, where there is a lot of add-ons will be going into flavors and other add-on flavor ingredients will be going into my emulsion. So where you have to be very specific how it need to be done. You have to follow the SOP. So SOP plays a great role in when it comes to a food processing industry. It's very common. SOPs are very common for any operation, but when it comes to food operation, it's very detailed. Each step has been specified, and you can't violate or you can't deviate the process. And then finally the output will come in a different way. So once the production done, then quality will be analyzing all the parameters test. They will be checking all the water activity, pH level. They will be checking the product colors, moisture level, and even yeah, that's it. Sorry. So these are the parameters which QC check it, and they will see. They will give it to either internal lab or they can give it to an external lab to analyze the product in different parameters. Like they will check the microbes, microbial activity. They will check E. coli. They will check salmonella bacteria activity. So any production happens, especially in wet product, QC will hold the product in the production chamber for not in chamber in production area for 7 days to see how the product behaves especially when it's the first time when they're doing any production of such product. So they will do analyze completely. They will observe the product 7 days, and after seventh day, when the result comes in a positive way, then QC will release the product to the next level. They will hand over it to the supply chain. If anything goes wrong in this process, again they will analyze. They will go back to the entire process. They will see where it is got violated, what is the process got eliminated, is there anything else gone wrong. So detailed analysis will be done by QA team, QC team, and QA team, and based on that they will be taking actions. They will change their SOPs, and the product get rectified. So once the product rectified is given to distribution like logistic team, it will be logistic who will be dealing with sales and the customer. So they will shift this material to the either distributor point or to a individual customer's point. So here again, logistic is also very, very crucial. And nowadays, due to this lot of other logistic issues happening around the India due to this toll, diesel rates, due to availability of vehicles, the logistic cost is also going up. So streamlining supply chain is also a very neck-to-neck challenging in current food operation industry. So if you see in food operation, generally major few companies has this fully automated operations. Like in Griffith, if I could say, like Griffith has a automated emulsion making machines from a brand called Tetra Pak, which is a Denmark brand again, where this process completely done through without manpower interruption, where the as per the recipe, ingredients should be feeded, and it automatically emulsify everything. It automatically go through the line, and it goes to the filling unit. So what happened? This will give you a zero microbial activity growth, and people like food processing, like protein process industries, they are very concerned, very particular about this micro count, because their shelf life for the products is 3 days. So when they do product with minus combination like a spread, so they need a minus which is a zero microbial count. So machines like continue automated machines will help you to do that, achieve that, and automated machine will give you a proper output where it can be everything is measured and it's fully automated. So it saves a lot of time, energy, it saves a lot of manpower, and it gives you a product which is it gives you a very amazing product. As my personally, I have seen it in multiple organization plus the current organization also, where the fully automated has a very unique way of making the process happens in faster. Example, if a normal emulsion like a mayonnaise, which takes half an hour to do an emulsification or something, in this machines it will take only halfly. 500 kgs will be done in 3 minutes. 3 minutes, your product is ready. Its emulsification is done, then you can directly send it to a filling unit. So global market, the food automation operation is expected to reach 29.4 billions, driven by demand for the precision and efficiency. So as I mentioned, now everybody slightly started moving towards automated line because it saves a lot of things. And too many human intervention will get, first of all, will be away from this product. So that gives you an additional advantage for your shelf life also. Food innovation. Food innovation involves introducing it, like innovation can be it can be a product driven innovation, it can be a technique driven innovation, it can be a concept or a meeting involving consumer needs. It can be health, focusing on health. It can be convincing. Anything in innovation which helps you to solve the problem of your consumer, it's called an innovation. As simple, if you can able to solve what market requires, that's innovation. The best example I will say, one of the best is simple is ID. It looks very simple. It's idli batter, but it has took 3.5 years for them to stabilize the product, understand what are the packaging, how to logistic it, how to market it, how to source the ingredient for it. So it takes a lot of years and time to innovate a good innovation. And if any innovation which can solve your problem, that will have a greater mileage for your selling point. So ID is a great example for it. And there's four types of food innovation, either majorly done in food industry. It's either product innovation, process innovation, packaging innovation, or a business model innovation. In product innovation, uh, developing a new improved product was, as mentioned, which is required for a customer, like Ideas done it. That's got a great product innovation. KFC done one product innovation earlier stage when McD done it. McD done a product. Actually, McD done a process innovation. KFC done a product innovation. So McD is done a process innovation by delivering a burger most efficiently, quickly, fastly, in affordable rate. So that's the process innovation. So if you do a packaging innovation, you see now more biodegradable packaging, smart packaging comes. People like Chai Point, Samosa Factory, they all started using a packaging of flask to serve the tea, which nobody would have thought in that manner. Recently, it's just been like last couple of years before. I'll say it's 3 years before it has got launched. So the all the coffee chains, they started utilizing this for the online segment, especially, so that it'll be you can serve the product hot, efficient, as well as it is more safer to for the consumers consumption. So business model innovation, it's like subscription model or maybe spice kits, ready to use sauces. Best example for business model innovation would, I will say, Licious. It's a great business model innovation. I don't want, sorry, extremely, if I don't want to suppose to use any particular brand, but to make you understand more easier, I'm just using these names. So they had a great business model. Nobody would have thought in that angle, because to think about that, you need to have a wider range of picture about how Indian market will behave, how consumer behaviors, what consumer want. If I do in protein processing, what are the minus point, plus point, how can I deliver a fresh product to a client? So many aspects. They have broken all the parameters for the access, and now say they're successful. Even Swiggy also, all the online platform mostly, I would say, it made people more convenient, more it gives you more convenient for people uh, who had a very short term for in their lifespan. Where currently, if you see, this world is running more faster. Everybody doesn't have much time to like cook, or maybe even nowadays I couldn't find many people who are able to spend some time also with friends or even kids. So that kind of like circumstances, this convenient model will help you to fulfill your needs nutritionally, as well as uh, like as a meal. So next is the industry view. So globally, the sauce and seasoning market is expected to grow in a compounded aggressive growing range. It's around 5.7%. By 2028, it should reach a value of 175 billion. So Indian market for sauces, it's growing very rapidly. Trust me, as being in this industry with a different organization, I could see seasonings and sauces. Now you can find everywhere in all different segments. You name it, in QSR, protein processor, even retail business. You can see it in Horeca segment. The seasonings plays a very vital role, because it helps you. Again, that is also convenient. Instead of you creating a tandoori masala, buying 10 different ingredients or 20 different ingredients, storing in a place, and trusting your chef, and believing him, and to create the product, and you won't get consistency, you won't get efficiency, you won't get you can't reduce your storage space, you have to depend on manpower. So to avoid all these things, seasonings has become a great eye opener for a FMCG industry. Still, I'll mention it, it's not for hotel industry, it's for a FMCG industry, I'm saying, and the Horeca segment, not for the five-star hotel, because they still they do a lot of scratch recipes, and that's the challenge for the chefs there. So in FMCG market, seasoning and sauces is growing very rapidly. And if you see in any hypermarket, you will find n number of sauces, day by day, everything launching. There's so many different sauce categories also: emulsion, hot bases sauces, gourmet sauces. less shelf-life products like Sorrentina. Earlier, they used to do all this pesto, which hummus, everything in a short shelf life of 1 week, 10 days, or 15 days. So every category has got a role here. So if you see emulsion-based sauce, gourmet sauces, spice blends, and masala are the very key categories nowadays. Growth, if you see in e-commerce platform, is also enhancing because accessibility for premium products is now more in online. If you go to Amazon, you can find a truffle mayo, you can buy yuzu flavor, you can buy a lavender flavor, you can buy all gourmets, a product like caramel, you can buy chimichurri sauce. So all these are available in e-commerce platform. So where there's for what I'm to my experience, what I understand is for every category, there's a market in India. If you take a hotel, the clientele for a hotel is there. If you take a QSR, the QSR clientele is there. So every clientele, we have to cater them and fulfill their needs. So as I mentioned, why sauces and seasonings plays very vital role. These are the reason. It will help you to enhance your flavor. It is very convenience. It gives you customization, versatility, and gives you global influences also, because you will get a lot of global influenced sauces. Nowadays in market, if you see Korean sauces, gochujang, bulldog, and if you see in Mexican sauces, African sauces, now currently South American sauces started getting involved in the globally. It's still in India, it's very less, but globally, South American cuisine is slightly getting popularized. If you see in globally, Japanese cuisine is also getting popularized. Again, in India, it's slightly different. Japanese, yes, it's growing, Japanese, but not in a very wide range, but it has got a great market for the niche market in a metropolitan cities, actually. Places like Bangalore, where I could see a lot of sushi restaurants are opening up, because people started traveling, they understand what is the benefit of having sushi, how it is it. When you travel more, you explore more, you will understand more about food, the importance of the food. So when it comes to India, people expect that kind of product nowadays, because as you see, a lot of clients now travel more than a chefs. I have seen a lot of clients who comes and speaks so many things, so many innovations happens in the global, where they travel to Europe, America, Mexico, even Middle East. So they see a lot of innovation happens there. So there's always a scope for learning and developing new products in the market. So this sauces and seasoning, which will help many people to start down their own restaurant, maybe a cloud kitchen, so where they wouldn't require any very expertized chefs for that, like a tandoori one chef, grill one chef, one gravies one chef, western one chef. You don't require, because now more convenient products already being reached in market, where one or two step process. Like if you want an Alfredo, you want to make an Alfredo sauce, it's readily available. You need to do just one or two step process to finish your sauces. So it will be more convenient, easy. And if you see day by day, there is heavy restaurant started making a lot of franchisees. They're pushing their borders slightly wider. Many restaurants started Delhi. Some success restaurants will started immediately in Pune, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai. So it's widely accepted everywhere, because people want new changes, innovations, and they want to explore more. So now people are very open. If product is good, it comes in the right price, good packaging, and it can solve the problem, the product is hit. So for that, we have to understand what is the market demand. So advancement in food processing for sauces, as I mentioned, cold emulsification technique slowly got improvising. People started moving to continuous uh, plant, basically equipments, where the product is more stable, more efficient. If you see energy wise, even water wise, manpower wise, everything is more like it can save you money more. And the one more great part is every production done, you do COC, which called clearance cleaning process. So cleaning process will take 1.5 hours, 2 hours when earlier. and we do manually. So now this all got automated. So only you have to just assemble, you have to align your program to based on your equipment. So it automatically cleans, it automatically sanitizes your equipment. You can just do a swab test and then start your next production as early as possible. So your turnover time of using your equipment is also getting reduced here. So high pressure processing is another very important process currently available. Currently, people started using this process, but it's not very widely available in Indian market because it's very expensive. But still, certain players they started using this process, especially fresh juice, which is a Tetra Pak or not this Maza and other stuff. Real fresh juice without any additives, without adding any sugar, preservative, colors. So they make their products more stable for 1 month using this technology, where your product is being kept in a container and the juice has been kept packed in a container and it will be forced to a high pressure, which is helps you to sterilize your product without losing your nutrients in the product and gives you good shelf life for it. This is still under scale up level because it's very expensive to set this level, set the entire system. And based on this system, when you want to set, you need to have that much of marketability to turn over the business. And the third point is spray drying and seasoning. In spray drying and seasoning, you can convert your liquid spices to fine powder, or you can do a flavor lock. It's slightly old technique for only spice industry, but now people started doing for spice blocks also. A combination of ingredients which can be done spray dried. This will help you to keep your flavor intact for a longer time, and it gives you a very fresh feel when you start cooking it. So this one technique which I've worked in my previous experience. It's the company which does natural colors, spray dye, spray dry product, and essential oils, oleoresins, where I learned this technique like how to convert liquid spices into powder for a longer shelf life. Production operation in sauces, as we already discussed. So I'll go to the next page. So in production operations in seasoning, seasoning blending is also a bit a challenging product where you're going to mix a number of items. Like to make one seasoning, you require almost 20-25 ingredients. Certain seasonings require 35 ingredients. So each ingredient has got a different size, texture, bulk density. So you have to understand how to blend it, how uniformly to mix properly. So you need to understand the nature of the product, and you have to, when you design a product, you have to design in such format which will be easy for a production guy also to make it in a larger scale. It's called precision mixing, where you need a uniform or in spice blends. Encapsulated technology, which we spoke in sauces also. It plays very vital role. If you would have seen tea bags comes with cardamom, ginger flavor and all, that all done through encapsulating technology. So generally when you open, you won't feel any flavor in it. The moment it gets into contact with heat energy, it releases the flavor. So that's how it has been designed. So there will be less of, I will say 0.1% of flavor loss will be there, very in rare circumstances, if it's not stored properly. Otherwise, the entire flavor will be locked in such a way. So this volatile and aroma will be preserved, and it gives you a very fresh feel when you consumed as a consumer. Control milling, aroma retention techniques, and color preserving methods. So these are very important to be kept in mind when you're designing a product. So when you overmill a product, again, the flavor changes, the taste changes. So you have to be very specific about the milling also. What is the mesh size you want? And color preservative, as you see, when the industries like us, we use a lot of paprika oleoresins to give a natural red color. And paprika by default, it's a natural product, so you can't keep it or hold it in a light, direct sunlight or in a light space. So it will start losing the color. So to avoid that, to prevent that, we have started using natural stabilizers like rosemary extract, carcinic acids. It's again that is also natural. It has got more antioxidant, which has been used in paprika as for a stabilizer also. So it will help you to keep your paprika or even turmeric, or even copper chlorophyll or sodium copper chlorophyll to retain the color, this stabilizer will help you out. Quality control measure, which I earlier spoke about. So quality plays an important role before product reaches the consumer. So they will do all the respective checkings, analysis, samplings, everything. They will do it, especially like to check the flavor profile. They will do microbial testing. They will see in seasoning. They will do the moisture control. They will see the bulk density in batch sampling. What generally happens when we do a production? Suppose if we are doing uh, a cheese sauce. Cheese sauce, we are doing 4 different batches. So all the 4 different batches will be given a different code, all 4 different codes, and they will take all different samplings for all the product, and they will keep it in a for the analysis. So that in market, if you come to know one product got a issue or any process issue, so you can easily understand it is from which batch and what is the process where we went wrong. So it will be easy for you to identify. So they keep one batch sampling always. Allergen test, yes, by default, if you put any process oriented operations, you can see all the allergen products will be handled separately, will be stored separately. And when you see the pouches also of the finished product, it will be clearly mentioned this process is either manufactured in so and so facility with allergen. So it is again very important to specify in your product, because allergen slowly it started developing more in India, especially gluten, which I come across more often recently, gluten and nuts. So innovative ingredients in sauces. Aquafaba is it's a replacement for your egg in substitute in mayonnaise. This still not commercially available in India. It's still under innovation stage, but it's slightly some few experimental studies has been done, and it's been tested in United States of America. So soon it may reflect. It helps you to replace your egg substitute in mayonnaise. Exotic flavors like black garlic, yuzu infused sauces are gaining more popularity. Functional ingredients, again, if you see a lot of advertisements, like products are coming based on probiotic. A probiotic, which is as we are more eating conventional food, so our gut health is also very important to take care. So you need to have a lot of probiotic enriched products, that is also soon a lot of products you can see in market. It will take some more time, but you will see more functional ingredients available in market. Alternate sweeteners, again, monk fruit and agave nectar. Agave nectar is, I think in India, we already started using this product, but still commercially, it's not reached the level because of cost factor. People who want premium, who want an gourmet oriented, they still go on agave nectar because they want to do a decline in the label as a healthy product. So that kind of category customers, they are still using agave nectar, but for a commercial purpose, generic market audience, still we are using sugars. There's no much substitute being used currently. Adaptogens, again, for a health oriented, people started adding ashwagandha, ginseng, all this health oriented ingredients. They started using it in even sauces also. Again, this is all in initial stage. This is still not fully scalable. People who want to do gourmet, people who want to do culinary inspired sauces, they are started doing all this kind of products. So innovative ingredient in sauces, more of regional cuisines started getting more influence in India now. I could see like even KFC started doing their Southern Spice chicken. They launched around 3 months before, but they done it for an LTO, limited time offer. But maybe soon this kind of regional flavors will be coming soon. Salt, again, if you see market, there is a small trend is going on, like low sodium seasonings, especially again in gourmet products, where people asking for low sodium product for the declaration of their enclave that saying it's a healthy product. So flavored sauce, herb powders, they all started now became more trends in the market. Herb powders, if you see like freeze dried, is another technique to preserve your product without losing its volatile oil, their flavors and other beneficial factors. People started doing freeze dried for herbs, especially, and now I've seen people doing for fruits also. Where I've seen some products in market where a gourmet chocolate brand which is using all the freeze dried mangoes, fruits for their chocolates. Packaging again to sell any good product, you need to have a good packaging. Not only so basically packaging will help you to run like extend your shelf life. So like many people earlier, I don't know, there was not much focused on packaging, but now if you see every organization, there you will find one packaging manager itself who will work along with R&D and supply chain manager and understanding the product nature, and they will be suggesting the packaging material. So now we find a lot of new packaging material are coming in the market, like smart packaging, eco-friendly options like biodegradable. Biodegradable sachets and recycled glass jars, yes, it's there. But in sachets, again, there's one challenge which we found recently in the market is due to our climatical issues. Most of the biodegradable sachets started getting lumps. So still that work is going on in the market to make it more efficient biodegradable sachets. The sachets which you find in pizza outlets like oregano sachet and chili flake sachets. So that all get absorbed moisture much when it comes to biodegradable due to variance of climatic, like people like in Chennai, they get more of these issues because high and humid. In Mumbai, they get it because of high humid in nature. So we have to be very particular, very careful when we're designing a packaging. Sustainable in process. So this one factor which is very essential for entire human being to follow this, because water conservation, energy efficiency, waste reduction will not only suits for food industry or for any industry, it is for everybody which we follow. It gives you it. We can move toward a good sustainable towards a sustainable world. So that we have to understand how water plays a very important role, energy also, waste reduction also. So in Griffith, we use 35% of our factory energy is from solar power. So earlier we were using 60%, but now due to our sauce plant got implemented, now we are using only 35% from solar power. The energy consumption increased. So where we are saving there, so we are certified a green energy sourced company production. Our production unit is green energy source. So waste reduction, again, there also we pay money to upcycle or recycle our products, whatever our some damaged products or any rejected product comes, we pay to the vendor. We recycle the product along with any natural fertilizer. We convert them into natural fertilizer, so that it will be useful for the environment, planet. So that's the main motto of Griffith. So that we already started doing it, and by 2030 we will be a full-fledged established organization in sustainability. So challenge in food process. The major challenges in food processing, if you see a balance of taste and preservative use, if you see 90% of our products which is in market is mostly of preservative, which again, that is the way we producing product now, because of, as I earlier mentioned, due to the stability and shelf life, we need to add preservative. So to do a preservative-free product, then you need to work on more on equipments, packaging, which will be more cost-oriented, which currently at present it's not practically which is feasible for in India due to the cost factor. Because the moment you involve high machinery, then the cost goes up. And so that's one challenge still we are facing. So slowly, that is also still big MNCs and big companies have started overcoming it. They started adapting a more equipment-oriented progress, so that it will help to for a larger run. Scaling artisanal product, again, artisanal product, it's a bit challenging because artisanal product requires a lot of different cooking techniques, ingredient specifications are there. So it will be very difficult to do an artisanal product to give a shelf life of either at least 3 months or 4 months. So still there is a huge gap there where we can still, everybody's working on it, but there's no 100% solution has been found out to scale up an artisanal product. Regulatory compliance, meeting food safety and export standard, and it still has a lot of challenge in this because every country, every product wise, it changes. So to meet that standards, you need to be thoroughly, we have to understand what's the Middle East, this thing, Middle East criteria. If you are doing in India, there's different criteria, like you can't use turmeric in minus emulsions, turmeric extracts. So this kind of regulatory things there where we have to find solution for it. Cost pressure, yes, that is the one more ultimate thing which every food processing industry, every company facing, cost pressure because of premium ingredients and sustainable ingredients. It's very cost effective. If you using any good source of ingredient, then you have to pay for it. A good premium chocolate, you want to use cocoa powder, you need to be, it's very expensive to source it out now. And availability of if you see example of vanilla bean, using a vanilla bean extract in your bakery products, it's highly impossible to use an original authentic vanilla until if it's a artisanal product. So because of cost implementation and global supply chain disruption, yes, a lot of globally, geopolitically, if you see a lot of issues happening earlier, like 3 months before it was the Red Sea issues. Before that, it was Russia-Ukraine war, where you have a lot of supply chain disruption. Sorry, like people like global companies like us, we import a lot of materials from abroad. We use a lot of flavors, paprika, cheese powder, which comes from globally. It gets stuck because of this global chain issues. So these are all the issues which will, which gives you a great challenge in doing a good product and getting the product to a market. So now we are going to talk about culinology. Culinology is a term which is used in Griffith, where chefs and food science will work together to create a product. As Griffith has been considered as a culinary-driven company, where all the products will be initially from the concept, it will be developed by chefs along with the ideas of R&D technology, because chefs knows the language and they can able to easily communicate to even customers, even to your R&D team. So Griffith made this. Even not only Griffith, many MNC companies you see, they all have a chef's team to develop a product. So because chefs will understand much better in terms of cooking wise. Technically, yes, R&D is sound. They are very sound in the technical aspect. But when you combine both this aspect, you can do a great products for the market, for the consumer. Along with R&D, chefs create a very innovative and true authentic taste products. So if you see in companies like this, we work along with R&D, along with marketing also we work to create insights to the market, understanding what exactly happening in the market, what is the customer's expectation, what they want, what is the problem, where's the gap, everything. A marketing team will work along with culinary team. So chef has got a very specific role and very important role in FMCG company. FMCG products, basically. Sorry. So being in culinology means, so as I mentioned, so we are able to speak and translate the language of brand. What is this brand about? What is a consumer? What is a culinary principles being used here? So utilizing our deeper culinary knowledge and expertise to deliver a very current and new customers opportunity, while contributing to the growth of Griffith Foods and aligning with our purpose of blending care and creativity to nourish the world. So that is the purpose of Griffith. So we blend care and creativity to nourish the world. So for this word, there's a lot of process behind it, which we have to follow. That, as I mentioned earlier, sustainability is all. It's all to nourish the world. So the role of chef in an like a global company like this. So you will be categorized into 3 different chefs: GDC chefs, RDC chefs, and local depot chefs. GDC chefs or global driven chefs, they will be working globally with global audience. They will create color insights for the global as well as for entire global as well as customers. They create innovative ideas. They create food attribute languages. They will create the culinary scoping, and they will do a proper market research for creating a new product. If it comes to regional chefs will do for their particular regional, and they will use culinary global chefs idea also, as well as the regional chef regional requirement also, because every region works different, their requirement is different, the clientele is different. So regional will also work for their particular region, and they create strategies, culinary sites for their own particular regions. So local depot chefs are the one who works for Horeca segment, hotel segment, where they travel to Horeca's hotel, restaurant, catering. They will understand the client requirement. They will try to do a culinary trials there, understand culinary requirement there. They solve the customers' solve problems. They will come up with ideas. What is requirement there? What is the gap in the market? Where how can we fill it? So these are the three different roles which generally you will find in most of the global company. So this will give you a greater mileage to understanding what happening globally, regionally, and locally. So this is culinary work in project. We called as culinary funnel. So how an idea, like how we generally work on a project. So as a chef, we first work on culinary insights, whatever given by marketing team. So we'll, based on the culinary insights, we'll create a culinary concept. Based on the concept, we invite all the stakeholders. Stakeholders means so people who are involved in the entire process, like your R&D, supply chain manager, your sales guys, marketing team, the regulatory team, and your management. So all people will be present there. We all sit together. We'll do a brainstorming based on this culinary insight, what we can develop. So once we get a rough idea, that an idea will be generated. Then based on idea, the chefs will give you the brief, what to be done, what are the specification for the product, how it to be elevated, how it to be done, how it to be composed, what are the aspect for the product, how it will help you to do an application, how it's going to solve the customer problem. So that brief will be given by culinary chefs, and that brief will go to R&D. So R&D. So R&D also will understand that. Before that, chef will give a scratch recipe for that particular product. Suppose if I am doing a tandoori tikka, so understanding the authenticity of the product, the requirement of the product, we will develop a scratch recipe. We will show it to R&D. R&D will do all the feasible of how to turn the product from a scratch recipe into a process-oriented recipe. So they will play. Then once they do the process oriented, then we will do evaluation between the scratch recipe and the R&D created product, and we'll see how close these two products are and how efficient it is. If it's too close, then we will go for understanding the other aspect of it, feasibility of the product, whether it can be scalable. Do we have any proper equipment for it? Is it required to procure something? What about the packaging, labeling, regulatory stuff? So everything will be discussed, and it goes to the next phase. Once the product is done, then it goes to a customer for a customer feedback. Once the customer feedback is done, the product will be then go for a pilot size production, so that you will understand how really from a lab to scale up, there's again a transition. The transition period is there, as well as transition process is also there, where your recipe is still in an R&D phase, so that has to be turned into a scalable phase. So R&D and will do a mini pilot scale up and see how the product behaves. They will do all the parameters checking, everything. Once done is done, they'll do a soft launch and see the understanding the product performance, and then do the final launching. After final launching also, still the process goes on by understanding after launch how the product is doing, is it any issues or what is be done. All this criteria will be taken care and will be full-fledged washed by the QA and QC team basically, and along with the R&D team. So the chef's role will be till R&D development. Then it goes to the next category. Then finally the product will be handed over to supply chain for the next execution. In between, I forgot to tell you one thing. Once the product is ready, before customer trial, we'll do in-house with our stakeholders. The product will be evaluated by all the stakeholders, understanding, especially from the sales point, because sales is the guy who is going to sell the product. So they will be given the priority to see how the product, what is the product requirement, is it matching for the market, whether it can able to sell it, and what are the attributes they require from culinary side and R&D side to sell this product more efficiently. And marketing team will do the marketing plan. Packaging will be doing the packaging work. So it's basically a teamwork. So that's how the funnel will be designed. So finally, the outcome has to come in a proper way. So few global innovations. So few global innovations which we found through our marketing team globally, like lab-grown coffee. Lab-grown coffee, like Atomo is the brand which sells more of lab-grown coffee, where because of the tackling deforestation, so they started growing the coffee beans in the lab itself. Hope everybody would have known lab-grown meat is going to be the future meat, which is still under process. US already tried it and they have launched one version of it in Singapore. But I don't know. I have to check what is the feedback. It's done around last year. I think they launched in Singapore for the understanding of people's consumers' behavior. So air-based protein, it's created protein from carbon dioxide and water. So this product, whatever I'm showing here, it's not still scalable. It's still done by few clients for their own like a premium level gourmet product. Still, it's not full-fledged done it. It's a trend which is being done by a few clients. So air-based proteins, edible coffee cups, alcoholic ice creams, 3D printing foods, synthetic wine. So these are the products which is currently globally you can see as an innovation. So if you see particularly about Indian specific innovation, edible sauce, flavor infused sauce for soups and drinks is a good innovation. Spiced sparkling water. You would have seen Jaljeera or pepper boat, but the same product in a sparkling water. Now it's coming up in the market. Self-cooking meal kit. Again, that is also interesting concept, which few items which has been launched long back, which is done in air caterings also. If you travel in airlines, would have seen a lot of ready-to-cook meal. Used to be like available in throughout airline journey. So now it started coming to a commercial, even retail shops also. Slowly it will evolve more. You will be getting more frozen also. Frozen meal kits is another trend which is still working on. The challenging in developing a frozen meal kit is Indian products are very delicate to handle for in a packed format, because Indian food has required a lot of cooking, a lot of other culinary driven products. So to scale up the product, to convert them into into a retail product in a packet food, it's challenging to retain the flavor, because all the Indian products you will get a lot of cooked flavors. Like you do a bunago, you do a chicken chettinadu, it's not only masala, it's all about the cooking technique using used. Or you braise your meat for a longer time, it gives you a different feel, different equipment has been used. So keeping all these things in your mind, you have to develop a product when it comes to an Indian meal. So that's challenging for Indian product. Still, few things are coming up now. Chutney based ice creams, desi boba tea. I would have seen desi boba teas. I think it's now trend in market in India, Korean trend. Boba tea, boba bubble tea basically. So where now they started infusing Indian flavors also. Solar snacks, which I've seen a couple of exhibitions also. People now more focusing on solar dried snacks, veggies, nuts, and eco-friendly. It's very eco-friendly, and still you can retain the nutrition part of the product. So now about Griffith Foods global innovation. Griffith has done some global innovation, which has already been now implemented in globally. In India, we started slowly introducing this product. This particular introducing Clean Finger, we recently launched in our FI also. Clean Finger, when you eat snacks, you'll find all the seasoning stuck to your fingers. Will be very inconvenient when you drive and eat, or when you do a work from home. So you need to always have a tissue, sanitizer, or a water, something to be next to you, so that it doesn't affect your finger or it doesn't make your product dirty. So to make it more convenient, this product we launched. The aspect two unique features about this product. One is it's clean finger. It doesn't have any product left in your hand. The second, it doesn't require too much. It doesn't require oil also, in fact. So it is very minimum level. Generally, people process oriented industry use 15 to 20% of oil. Here you require 1 or 2% just to bind it. So it was designed in such a format where it doesn't require much fat to stick on your extrusion substrates, like pops, like kurkure types chips. So there you can easily coat it. So that's the USB about this product, and it's very convenient. You can dry, you can eat. When you're working, you can eat. It's a very hit product in Europe, where Europe and America they were more into convenience. So these are the benefits of clean finger. For consumer, it's no more dirty and messy fingers, no residue or stains on the cloths, keyboard, mobile phones, and couches. Delivery on taste. Still, you will find good delivery of it, a tasty product. For snacks producer, what are the benefits? It's very unique in the market. Still in India, if you see, I think nobody has launched a clean finger product, but still it will deliver your taste. Uses zero oil. Yes, certain people still they will love to use 1 or 2% fat, but generally it's zero fat, because the addition coating what we used here, it's more in such a way that it will help you to coat in your substrate. So it's possible to add fibers to make your front of pack climbs. So because as this addition, we are using some starches, which has some fibers also. So we can climb. You can climb it in the label also. It has got add-on fibers. But it's just less wastage in terms of seasonings in the back. That's a major concern when you go for any processor. They will see, once you coat the product, they will see what is the wastage lies in the blender, because that is an add-on cost, because again you can't use it. So this will help you to reduce that wastage also. How did it works? If you see the PPT, it will clearly mention standard process of subtract, a spray on functional water slurry. You make a water slurry, apply it on the dry substract, roll it, and you evaporate it so that the excess moisture will be get out, cool it out, and pack it. It's a very simple process. You don't need any additional equipment for it, because when we develop any product, this also we have to keep in mind what is the processor has, what kind of equipment. So based on that equipment, you should design the product in such a way that it doesn't require to buy a new equipment. Veggie coats, again, this is one more very innovative product which is launched in Griffith. We use vegetable dehydrated powders to coat the nuts. So as healthy snacks is growing up globally, it is attracting people. So we use more of vegetable powder to coat the nuts, especially almonds, cashew, peanut. So you make the slurry out of vegetable powder, which has already been had with it's a full-fledged packet, which is already has a flavor, has a texture, has a body, and has got enhancing factor also. So it will give you overall a great product for your final product for your nuts. So convenient factor, nuts like almond, pistachio, and cashew nuts are considered premium coating. So coating with this vibrant veg flavors, it gives you great indulgence and nutrition. And again, there's no any additives or preservatives or any artificial color used in these coatings. The pictures what you see, it's the original color of the product, which is done in our lab. Another interesting factor, what we are doing is flavor glaze. It's an oil-based flavor glaze, where you would have seen Korean fried chicken, where they fry and they dip it in the chili oil. So it will be very difficult to eat fried product dipping again in a fat. So we created a unique recipe for it, unique process basically, I will say, where the oil has been treated in a different way. It's been crystallized first, then it's used to make such a glaze product. So there is certain science behind it, which I can't explore now because this product is still not yet out for market. We are still under innovation. Soon it will be launching in India itself. We'll be launching for all the. We'll try to launch in QSR. Sugar Flex, again, this product also we are almost in the urge of finishing. We launched in FI. So this tool is again a great tool to replace sugar in sauces, in all the wet product basically. It helps you to reduce 30% of sugar. This product has got a dietary fiber. It has got a probiotic. Sorry, it has got a prebiotic. Sorry. So it is very, you can claim it in your label when you use this sugar tool, Sugar Flex. Generally, when you see a product which you available market, will get around 28 to 30% less sugar combinedly when you use this product. So once this product also will launch, I can able to share you the process how it has been made. Even this also sugar has been done on being gone through a process where sugar converted it, and it helps you to give you fibers. It will help you to give probiotic also. So it is a great add-on for your product. Sodium Flex, it's slightly old, I would say, but not highly seen in the market, but still very few people niche market people who love to go for this product, a low sodium product, which has been used in snack seasoning, especially snack seasoning, green label products, where people love to have a low sodium, so that it's considered one of the most healthy version of eating it. So where you can use this product. This has got like many people started doing this product now in market, but not in a commercial one. It's mostly in niche market and in a culinary inspired products. So global innovation to watch. Fermented sauces are what is going to be the new trend. If you would have seen all supermarket, now you would have seen a lot of kombucha inspired products, a lot of Socrates, a lot of kimchi season, kimchi fermented kimchis are not started coming into market. So using that fermented knot, we are going to try a lot of marinade sauces. That is going to be the future trends. Umami again, umami is the trend which already started. Fusion flavors, again, Indian fusion flavors to pair with international herbs or international ingredients. That is going to be another like example using yuzu lemon, an Indian product is it's going to be a next trend actually. Zero wastage formulation. It's going to be it's for the entire global. Globally, everybody is more focusing on zero wastage formulations, where which we can save a lot of money as well as it not affects the planet. So it gives you a great addition for it when you sell a product which is zero waste formulation. Alcohol infused sauces. Yes, this is already started there in globally, but in India it's not yet, because as per FSI, it's not clearly mentioned about usage of alcohols in sauces for a commercial aspect. So case study, if you see, understanding 4 factors: process, innovation, global reach, and sustainability. So AICTE Ketchup has done a great process where they used cold break process technology to to keep the nutrition of the product, to save the energy, as well as to keep the product more fresh. Innovation, so they have done zero sugar added ketchups. They have done a lot of many variants of organic tomato variants also. They have done adoption of regional markets, like Heinz when they launched in Korea. They have launched all the Korean flavors. In Indonesia, they have done Indonesian flavor. Gochujang flavor they launched in Korea, and they got a good feedback about it. Sustainable, they also focus more on reducing water because they are one of the highest consumers of tomato globally. So they started working with farmers. They started teaching them. They started investing money to reduce how to reduce water in cultivation of tomato farming. Similarly, Magic Masala of Maggie was also one of the good example where they understand what is the people needs now. Uh, Now, if you see a lot of Maggie cubes, Maggie Magic Masala, small sachets of small packets of 5 rupees, 10 rupees selling good in India. I've seen a lot of shops. Whenever I go to supermarkets, I try to observe what product sells. So this product sells very vastly. I've seen many different places in Chennai, Kerala, Hyderabad, everywhere. The people who does home cooking, they also started utilizing this product. So it's one of the great innovation from Maggie and team. So they started utilizing local flavors. So blend so that it started Indian palates can be adapted, especially household people. Maggie's most of the target is of more households. So if you want to crack that, you need to palette like you need to blend the palette of Indian flavors into the brand, into the product. Sorry, convenience, and rather than they selling in 1 kg, half kg pack, they make it very easy, one serve small packs. And if you see the penetration, it started penetrating in rural and urban market also, which you even if you go and see in the shop, you can easily observe, understand, and observe it also. Magic cubes and this magic masala. And consumer loyalty, if you see still Maggi, this Maggi noodles has got a great impact in the social, sorry, with the consumer in this India. There's still a lot of Maggi clients who love to eat Maggi. Future sauces, which we already mentioned that. Future of seasoning also we already briefly explained that. So market opportunities, there is Indian Horeca system is booming. We see a lot of restaurants, cafes, Indian-based QSR chains. So they're all doing a lot of innovations, understanding the regional specified also. A few brands in India, they understood the regional region requirement. Whenever they do establishing their branches in different location, they try to incorporate one regional product in their menu. So that is one good sign for growth of Horeca, where people understand what exactly consumer want. And e-commerce, again, as I mentioned earlier, e-commerce is also growing up, and people now started buying artisanal gourmet products through e-commerce. E-commerce like Swiggy, Zomato, or Blinkit, they all started putting their entire profile. Like Amazon will get almost all the artisanal products you'll find in Amazon. So food trucks and street food is also emerging, and private label growth. Yes, people now started pushing their own brand products in retail, especially. They want to do a lot of their private products. If you see in many supermarkets or hypermarkets, a lot of snacks you can find local products only. It's all private labeled. So action point for business. Consumers they need to invest in R&D for clean labels and formulation. That is the future requirement. So many people slowly will be migrating to clean label formulations, which we already started getting from clients. A few clients from Middle East, few clients from India. They're making pasta with zero maida, and they want clean label products, so we're developing seasoning for them. So slowly this will come in a larger way. So adapt advanced processing technologies like HPP, high pressure processing. That is also required by regional diversification. As we mentioned, yes, a blend of we require a regional diversification for specific blends of niche market. Consumer insight studies to meet the innovation to meet the local demands. So this point I was keep on posting in all the slides. Like you need to develop something which is a market demand. Conclusions, as I mentioned, the seasoning and sauces industry is evolving rapidly. So driven by innovation, consumer demand. Companies must focus on sustainability, quality, personalization to stay competitive. Yes, now if you see every company now started speaking more about sustainability, regenerative agriculture, serving nutritional food for people who are underserved. So these are the new thing which is going to come up in future. Holistic innovation, balancing tradition with future forward techniques. And long-term vision, investing in a scalable, sustainable practice. As I mentioned, sustainable practice is going to be the next future for the entire global, not only India. Thank you. Questions and open for your questions.
Hello, good evening, chefs.
Good evening.
It was a wonderful session. We all really enjoyed and understood what is happening in the market currently. I have two questions for you.
Yes.
One is, does Griffith also encourage individuals who have their own recipes to commercialize it?
It depends, sir. Actually, if you're having a potential, you have a scale up to sell the product, you have a volume, we can do it.
Okay. Next thing is, today every doctor is speaking about the loss of gut biome, which is being transferred through many generations, through heredity and through also the quality of food we eat. But most of the foods we processed foods are having preservatives, and preservatives are killing the gut biome. And gut biome is known as your second brain. So with the second brain getting damaged day by day, how is the industry? You spoke more about sustainability. How is the industry going to take care of this part of the sustainability?
That can be taken care in two aspects, sir. One is in your equipment part, one is your packaging part.
Okay.
And the thing is, in India, if you're doing a butter chicken, you can't compromise certain things. People expect that. So if you want to do a good shelf life product without any preservative, there is some extent you need to compromise on the flavor or a taste of the product, which consumer doesn't want to do it. If you see market, a lot of noodles, snacks, everything sells a lot. People finally want tastier product. So there's a crowd, sir. For in India, what my observation I've seen, for every aspect, there's a crowd. There is a clientele in India actually. There's a clientele for niche product. There's a clientele for mass product. There's clientele for healthy oriented products. So you need to find the right client and you have to cater them. And gradually, every company is slowly working on it, how to reduce preservative. One more thing, the factor is cost factors. Any process, if you introduce or if you anything new, if you do, it comes in a cost. And India, if as you see, it's very price sensitive market.
Yes. So you spoke about freeze drying and also sun drying, which is very natural methods.
Yeah.
So I thought industry should move more towards these kind of frozen foods and sun dried foods rather than preservative based. Also, Indian palate is not accepting that acidic taste in packed foods for many years. But recently, as you said, these packed foods are selling more. That means the new generation has started accepting this packed processed foods. So I don't know where it will go, but I thought from a sustainable angle, what companies are doing, I wanted to know. You gave it in a very commercial answer that everything there is a market. But still, the sustainability question stays.
Sustainability, sir. So actually, we started from like 6 months, like 1 year before. Globally, we started focusing more on sustainable. So our aspiration is to achieve like 2030. We need to be a sustainable company.
Okay.
So if you maybe if you know about Griffith and custom culinary brand, if you check in market also, people will tell custom culinary means more of quality. So Griffith focus more on quality, very like you can say a very niche product. Generally, we don't target most of mass audience. As I mentioned, there's one couple of clients whom we work for green label also. So generally, it's not only a single person's innovation. So there should be a demand in the market also. When the demand comes, things will fall in place.
I agree.
It will come, but it will take some time slowly because it's very price sensitive also.
Yeah, currently it is price sensitive. When the price is being paid for the health, then the demand will come.
Yeah. That one sort of crowd is slowly growing, sir.
Yes. Also, sorry, I think I got that question already. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Manian.
Are we expecting other questions from other audience? Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Mr.
first of
Anup
all,
Kumar is there. Yes, sir.
first of all, very much thankful to giving some vast knowledge on this topic. So my question is like, is really preservative harmful for our guts?
Sorry, sir, I couldn't hear you clearly. Mr. Anup?
He asked, is there any preservative which can be harmful for ourselves?
Harmful for our guts.
So any preservative as per a standard FSI limit, which is good for your health and has nothing harm in it, because even human body also create a lot of chemicals like phosphates and all. Even human body
Right.
also naturally creates, so that is not a harm. It's how you're eating it, and when you're eating is
It
also
depends
matter.
upon the consumption, right?
Pardon, sir?
It totally depends upon the how much consumption you are having.
Yes. How much consumption and how you're having it is also
Right, sir. Right,
factor.
sir. And one more question, sir. What kind of preservative we can use to increase the shelf life of traditional product like biryani, chicken biryani or mutton biryani?
So in biryani, I think you need to balance the pH, sir. And if you have a retort facility, then you don't need much preservative for that actually.
Okay. So suppose we are not supposed to use any chemical preservative.
We can add sodium benzoate.
Sodium benzoate.
But if you have a good packaging technology and if you have a good process technology, you can still avoid, but it comes in a slightly expensive way. You have to spend a lot of money on it.
Right. Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Are we expecting more questions? Okay, so proceeding ahead.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yes, please.
Ganesh sir, good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, my question is that nowadays the mayonnaise sauce is very much popular among that community.
Okay.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And we know the actual recipe that how we made the mayonnaise sauce. It's a that emulsification where we combine the egg yolk along with the that oil, basically extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah.
But nowadays the manufacturing companies, they are using, we are not aware of what kind of oil they are using,
Okay.
and that is leading to the other disease. So how we should improve those techniques, or how we can avoid all these products, because we are not aware of that these are healthy or not.
Yeah.
Yes. So my question is that the food processing techniques applied by these industries, that is not suitable, and everyone is aware. But instead of that, they are using all such products. So how we can reform them? How we can get out of them?
At least for a time being, if you want to solution, then you need to buy a good standardized oils, which doesn't have any preservatives, which doesn't have any unnecessary fortification. The company has to have some specification for their ingredients, especially like in our company, we're very stringent not to use any additives in it. It should be like freshly made, and it should not be a old, like 2 to 3 months old product. It should not have any other additives in it. So that way we can eradicate, because sunflower is again good to eat. There's nothing harm in eating a sunflower oil. It's about which kind of sunflower you're using. That is an important question in it. So it to be a properly certified, you should buy from a proper vendor also.
Right, sir. As we know that the companies or the big factories, they only use the code system. Code.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
use the code system, and we are not as a that normal human being, normal the people. We are not aware of that the code language. So that's why
So that is
my
very
concern
easy,
was
sir.
for that.
If you put it in Google, you will get everything nowadays. Any codes, it's all INI code only, no, sir. It's easily
Okay.
available in Google. They'll give you the entire brief also.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome, sir.
So, extending ahead, let's take a moment to extend our heartfelt thank to Chef Ganesh Damodaran for his enlightening session today. Chef, your expertise in food processing operation and innovation has provided us with invaluable insight into modern food technology and their applications in culinary world. Your deep understanding of product development, food trends, and the integration of technology in culinary practices has truly expanded our perspectives. The passion and the knowledge you have shared with undoubtedly inspire us to think creatively and embrace innovation in our own culinary pursuits. We are deeply grateful for your time and expertise. Let's give Chef Ganesh a big round of applause for his understanding and outstanding contribution today. Now, I would kindly request our coordinator, Chef Anirban Gupta, for this faculty development program to give a vote of thanks to all dignitaries. Chef Gupta.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Jyoti, ma'am. I would like to thank all the participants, all the faculty members who has taken the time to join online AICTE and learning Atal Faculty Development Program. And Flame to Feast, I want to thank all the speakers, all the veterinary speakers from the industry, from different segments of hospitality industry, who has taken the time to be in this Atal, as you know, enriching us. I would like to thank Miss Emma from France, who has taken her valuable time to be in this session. I would like to thank Ms. Brigade. I would like to thank Dr. T.K. Razdan, Mr. Sudhir Sibbal. I would like to thank Mr. Ashish Basin, Ms. Aruna Thirke, Chef Gunjan Goela, Chef Nishan Chaube, Dr. Abhay Chamoli, Dr. Kurian, and the entire team of PCT group of institutes, faculty of hotel management, the co-coordinator Mr. Manoj Das, the anchors Ms. Jyoti ma'am, Ms. Priyanka, Mr. Rohit Gill, and definitely Ms. Harpreet Kang, the PCT, the Dean of PCT Group of Institutes, and Atal, without which this sort of FDP was not possible. So I would like to invite Dr. Puneet Utreja, the director of PCT Group of Institutes, just to say a word of thanks. It's to Dr. Puneet Utreja.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Naribban, for giving me this opportunity to thank the experts of your industry. So, first of all, good evening, everyone. It gives me a great pleasure to share my views on the recently concluded AICTE Training and Learning Faculty Development Program on the theme Flame to Feast, Decoding the Art of Culinary Secrets Across Cultures and Seasonal Cycles, organized by Faculty of Hotel Management PCT Group of Institutes. It's really a matter of great satisfaction that this 6-day FDP brought together 16 renowned celebrity and senior experts chefs representing diverse states of India and international culinary hubs such as France and Singapore. These culinary experts, each a master of their domain, shared their unparalleled expertise and knowledge, creating and enriching learning experiences. Under their mentorship, participants, including faculty members, were empowered with new teaching techniques and culinary innovations. This immersive program not only deepened our understanding of culinary arts, but also inspired growth and creativity leaving a lasting impact on all attendees and their institutions. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to AICTE for providing the opportunity to organize such a transformative event. I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the management of PCT Group of Institutes for their unwavering support in organizing this event. Additionally, I sincerely acknowledge the dedicated efforts of our Atal coordinators, Professor and Dean of the Faculty of Hotel Management, Chef Anirban and Manoj Das, and their entire team for their exceptional contribution that ensured the success of this program. And in last, thank you all for your commitment and dedication. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, Punit sir. And when we are finally in the end of the session, I think Jyoti madam has will end the session. Before that, the last session by Chef Ganeshan, which was absolutely a different zone in the hospitality industry about Griffith food and the food processing. So we would end the session. If any questions, I think Jyoti ma'am, if any question and answer is left with Chef Ganeshan, because finally we are end of the session and it's over to you. And especially I would like to thank the IT team, whose support with Dr. Sahil was there. So it was unparalleled. His effort was there and his team. So finally moving to the last, thanking to all the participants and all the speaker. I would request any of you want to have a question and answer with Mr. Ganeshan, because I'm thankful to you that Dr. Ganeshan has spent his valuable time and is here to end the session. So it's you to Jyoti madam.
I would request if anyone is having any question, please proceed so that we can end the session after completion of the answers. I hope nobody is having any question now. So thanks from my side. So each speaker was like a master chef adding their secret ingredient to this collective fest of knowledge, passion and creativity. But it wasn't just about learning, it was about enjoying the process. From the vibrant discussion about lost Mughal cuisine to exploring farm to table movement in hills cuisine, this program struck the perfect balance between tradition and innovation. I must say your enthusiasm during the session was contagious. The questions, the interactions, and shared experience made this FDP an experience to cherish forever. This program would not have been possible without the incredible support and dedication of many individuals. A huge round of applause for our respected speakers whose wisdom, expertise, and passion illuminate every session. To our technical team led by Mr. Sahil for their flawless execution behind the scene. You ensured not that a single glitch interrupted our learning journey. My co-anchor, Mr. Rohit Gill, for being the perfect partner in steering this event with enthusiasm and grace. Chef Anirban Gupta and Manoj Das are coordinators for their impeccable leadership and planning. And most importantly, to all of you, our participants. Your dedication, curiosity, and engagement were the heart and the soul of this event. As we are part away today, let us remember the core essence of this program to embrace innovation while staying rooted in the tradition, to teach not just techniques but art of storytelling through food, and to inspire new generations of hospitality leaders. The friendship and the professional connections forget here are the valuable as the knowledge shared. Let us keep the spirit alive by collaborating, exchanging ideas, and building a network that thrives on shared excellence. On the behalf of Faculty of Hotel Management, PCT Group of Institutes, I extend my heartfelt thanks to everyone who made this event resounding success. Let's close this evening not with saying goodbyes, but the promises to meet again in future collaborations, workshops, and conferences. Remember, every journey has end with the hope of new beginning. Now let's give ourselves a round of applause for making this week truly memorable. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and make the knowledgeable gain here continue to inspire and empower. How wonderful evening, and let's stay connected. Thank you so much to everyone. A special thank to everyone who were the part of this session. Yes. So I would request the host to end the meeting for everyone. Thank you. It was all my pleasure to be the anchor for this session throughout the week.
Thank you, Jyoti.
My pleasure, sir.